All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SystemMagic stream. My name is Greg, and Andrew is here joining us, though he is not right here next to me because we've been having some Magic Online issues in trying to get our recap set up. And so Andrew is upstairs on his computer and is screen sharing to us. It's a little janky, but we'll be watching some recaps of his tournament through this interface, and we'll be talking through some of the decisions that he made. So if you haven't heard, if you didn't see the notification, Andrew on Friday won the Moto RCQ. And so we're going to be going back and doing a little bit of tournament recap and talking through it. So, okay, Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing! And yeah, if chat, I'm assuming you can hear Andrew okay. Someone let me know if you can't hear Andrew, and we'll make sure I should be able to fix that on my end. But we should be able to hear Andrew. Neat. I wonder...
Yeah. And I apologize again for this complication. Yeah, we didn't quite realize some aspects of how Magic Online stores their replays, but it is an ancient and decrepit program, so such is life, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if... Okay, hold on. We're gonna pause for 1 second as I try to edit... Oh, quiet. Okay, hold on. I can turn up Andrew. Okay, Andrew, talk again.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, neat. I should have just made Andrew louder, though I can't actually tell how it sounds on stream. So... yeah, Nee comments that it's possible Andrew could... Oh, now it says loud. Uh-oh. Okay, let's go halfway in between. Okay. Alright. It's now halfway in between where it was before and where it is now. I wonder if I can zoom in. Sorry, as we figure out our technical issues here. Oh, I see. What if I do this? No, don't do that. Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, so just to explain slightly, apparently Moto stores all your replays on the computer you played the match and not on your account that played the match, which is suboptimal for our purposes.
All right,
that's how we end up here.
All right, we just got to see a little bit behind the scenes, and we're gonna get rid of that. Okay. All right, let's try it out. If it looks real bad, we can adjust, but I think if we want to start up the first game, we can see how it looks. And figure that out. I would prefer
to not hear Andrew's voice. Well, you've turned to the wrong stream if your goal is to not hear me.
Yeah. There are many other streams that you can join and watch where Andrew will not be speaking.
Yeah, in fact, this may be the only stream where I will be speaking. So
who knows? Maybe someone's re-streaming us.
Yeah, I guess anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
All right, so let's try to get into these replays. Hopefully, it will all work. We also have the additional feature here.
Hey, Andre, welcome to the stream. Oh no! Please tell me you can make that bigger.
Oh no, I can.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. That looks fine. Turn Andrew up slightly. Okay. I'll turn Andrew up like one notch. Okay, that was 2 notches.
All right. So, yeah. I guess we can start getting into this tournament. So, just for anyone who's unfamiliar, I guess I'm playing pretty much the same. In fact, 74 of the 75 cards we streamed with Mono Green last week. Changed 1 card. But yeah, basically this is stock Mono Green with 1 Skyboat in the main and 2 Skyboats in the sideboard, so that we can occasionally board up to 2 Skyboats as our 2 flex slots.
And no, we don't have a public Discord server for our channel. Probably a bit of a ways away, if we're being honest, but definitely something we'll think about for the future. But thanks for asking. Yeah.
I would also say that may be a long-term goal, but yeah. So okay, should we try to get into this game here?
Yeah, real quick. If you do want to reach out to us, you're welcome to. I would suggest checking us out on Twitter. I just put our Twitter profiles in the chat, so feel free to reach out to either of us via Twitter. That's a great way to get in touch with us. So anyway, yeah, let's start up the first game.
All right. So. Okay, so, yeah, basically, I'm playing Mono Green, I am on the draw, I have like a pretty easy keep. As you can see, this is an Elvish Mystic Wolf Willow turn 3 Skyboat hand that also has Nykthos and Beseiju. So it's basically a keep against everything, like not too interesting. And yeah, our opponent leads on an Overgrown Tomb, which has unclear meaning. I suspect this generally means they're playing the green-black devotion list because I think there are almost no green-black decks in Pioneer.
There is the Elves Collected Company deck that's been gaining some popularity. I know, although I think it's a little bit on the decline.
Oh, that's true. You're right. It could be that too. So there are a few possibilities, but probably what it means is that they're playing a green, like rampy style deck. But they didn't have an elf, so that's obviously very good for me. So yeah, I just play an elf on turn 1. Pretty straightforward. And my opponent plays Wolfhaven, which basically confirms that they're playing green.
Alright,
cool.
So we're playing the mirror.
That is correct. I draw QR for my turn. Pretty... So here I decide to Beseiju their land. So just to be clear what happened. They had Wolfhaven on Overgrown Tomb, which means that I can just Beseiju their Overgrown Tomb to take them off a mana, essentially. And I decided that doing that and playing my own Wolfhaven was better than playing just Kiora, essentially, like giving me mana and denying the mana. I think that's a pretty straightforward play. But that's just happened here. Also, I don't know why my opponent enchanted their Overgrown Tomb with Wolfhaven to start with. It may have just been a punt by them, because their other land is a forest. But anyway.
DC Sports comments that Greasefang is another deck in Modern that plays Overgrown Tombs. But...
Oh, that's true. That's very true. I apologize for forgetting about Greasefang. So anyway, yeah, I Beseiju my opponent. And I can... And yeah, then they kind of just play... I believe they played QR here, yeah. They play QR and nothing else, which is great for me. And then I draw this Old Growth Troll. So with the Old Growth Troll, I could play Skyboat here, or I could play Kiora into Old Growth Troll. Basically, are the two options. But I think that what I decided to do is I believe play Kiora into... Or sorry, I played Skyboat here, with the idea that I can just kill their Kiora next turn, and they're like really gated on mana, and then they just kind of won't ever get off the ground. And they can't even play an elf here because I would also be able to kill that. So it's pretty bad for them, right? They play Troll and draw a card. Greg, how should I do this?
I think it's going great. I think you can go a little faster.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So I play this. Yes. So I play the Skyboat. Sorry, this stream is pretty experimental. Chat, you know, we're learning as we go. Let's say. So anyway, I go for the QR plus the Troll, and then I can just crew up the Skyboat and kill the QR and hit them for 6, which is pretty good. They also missed a land drop next turn, so they're kind of in a like horrendous spot right now, I would say. But you know, there's plenty of Magic left to be played.
Hey Stifle, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Keep going, Andrew.
Oh yeah, sorry. I should try to pay more attention to chat as I'm doing this.
No, it's okay. I'm on it.
Okay, I do have chat up on a hidden screen here. Here my opponent plays Karn, which is bad for me because I can't crew boat and I have no other action, as you can see. And they wish me your golem, and I cannot cast this Teferi as I don't have Oath, so I kind of can't do anything, as it turns out. Which is unfortunate for me. So, yeah. Basically, like, what I decide to do here is, like, well, I just attack the Karn, and I don't know, at least that if they wish again, the Karn will be dead, and I can also sack my Old Growth Troll land to draw a card, and they can't, since I have Cure and they don't. This does give them a mana, though, so it is kind of a trade-off. I'm honestly not sure if that play was correct. But yeah, the idea is that I wanted to draw the card, and I thought the card was really important. And it's also not irrelevant that my 4/4 might beat them down, whereas they're very unlikely to sack theirs, as they're desperate for mana. But yeah, that is what I decided to do. I think it's a pretty close play. But anyway. So, alright. My opponent here, as you can see, has quite a bit of mana now. I think 7 exactly, yeah. So they can just play the Meteor Golem, but they decide to go for this Teferi. And then they play Cav, which is quite a good turn. And I think I am now officially losing in this game, as my opponent also mills over 2 storms, so they kind of have just like infinite gas now. But I draw a Cav, and again, I don't really have any decisions. My only play is Cav. So I play it leaving up mana for Nykthos, and I will Nykthos in response to the trigger, I think. Yeah. Which, just a little tip for everyone here, whenever you play green, because the Cav could always hit Nykthos, and you could mill over Storm or whatever, you should always Nykthos in response to the Cav trigger, so that you get the additional devotion from the Cav, and you get to re-Nykthos, as it were. Greg, any thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, as to what you should take here? Oh, I think you should take Lair of the Hydra, which is what you did. Okay, nice.
Right. I have no gas.
Yeah.
I have no storms, so I just take the Lair, just to kind of pressure their walkers. But I would say this effort is actually kind of feeble. My opponent is extremely close here to just comboing me dead, but I don't have any plays, so you know, so yeah, it's not a great spot for me. Okay, so here what I just decided to do is I legend ruled my Kiora to untap my elf so that I can attack Karn and deny them a wish. And the reason I'm doing this is I think if they get a wish, I'm pretty likely to be dead immediately. Like, I'm pretty likely to be dead on their untap. And so I just need to stop that. Like, to give people an example of the sort of thing I'm worried about, if my opponent makes a bunch of mana, wishes for Petulant Cauldron, Petulant Cauldron's back Karn, and then Karn's for the Chain Veil, that might kill me. And they're a little mana short of doing that, but it wouldn't take a lot for them to get there. That's the sort of thing that I'm like concerned about. So by taking the Karn off the Karn Wish, I make it quite difficult for me to die literally next turn, and I am happy to sacrifice my Troll Warrior for a chance at life.
Yeah, neat.
And the Green Mirror is a lot about this. Like, it's a lot about just like live another turn, hope that you can combo in your next turn. Because it wouldn't take much for us to combo either. It would pretty much take like a Karn. So anyway, my opponent plays Kiora. They have Teferi Kiora, which means they have literally bajillions of mana. As you can see, literally 20.
That's quite a lot.
But I'm not dead because the Karn doesn't have a wish. And my opponent decides to Meteor Golem my Planeswalker and then Flashback Storm, which is strange. They should definitely Flashback Storm first. And they have a pretty bad thing. But, yeah. So here, wait, sorry, let me just...
So it kind of looks like if they had made the right play, if they had Flashback Storm first, they would have won the game.
That is correct.
Okay.
So what just happened here is my opponent, I believe, literally punted the game by Meteor Golem pre-Storm, because I think they had enough mana there that if they had done it the right way, I would have just been dead to this Karn that they found off the Oath of Nissa that they selected, I believe is what happened.
Ah, okay, alright.
So, yeah. So, it's, yeah, that was, I think, definitely the wrong play by my own opponent. But I'm still in a pretty horrible spot because they have 3 walks here. Also, just to not spoil this, but I'm going to win this game. So,
oh my gosh, that is insane! I am shocked. I legitimately have no idea how you're going to win this game.
Well, okay, so I'm going to beat down some walkers. So here, I animate this layer of the Hydra to the maximum, and now I'm just going to pause it because this is an interesting spot. So the question here is, what attacks should we make, basically? And you can see that I have pretty much a 7/7 layer, 2 1/1 else, and a Cav. Any thoughts, Greg?
I would send everything at the Karn. Because if you send everything at the Karn, you're guaranteed to get it down to 1, which means they can't wish. And the other, like, the Kiora will untap some stuff, that doesn't do much. The Karn, the Teferi, they can, like, do the Anticipate Minus mode and draw an extra card, but we can't stop that. And those Planeswalkers are so loyal. So that's my play. Is that what you did?
Yeah, that is what I did.
Nice,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, so I do send, everyone at Karn here. You can see they're all going at the Karn. And my opponent makes the most obvious block of eating 2... Well, maybe not the most obvious block, but they decide to eat 2 elves and let the Karn die.
Okay.
Because they do have this Petulant Cauldron in hand from last turn, as you may recall.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, yeah. So, anyway, I think here I'm again dead. Like, I think my opponent can just combo me right now. But they don't do that, and I'm not sure why.
Okay.
So here I F6, and my opponent just starts comboing. And I'm actually not sure what happened here, because literally, like, I was playing this match, and I thought I was dead. So I F6, and you can see my opponent's trying to combo, but they're not wishing for the Chain Veil. Right?
Okay.
Like, they haven't Chain Veiled.
Okay, so
they're
it's
just trying to do
they don't have that card?
It is possible, but they don't have a lot of devotion. So I'm not totally sure they don't have devotion to combo with that Chain Veil. See how their mana keeps going down as they combo?
Yeah.
Like, because the threshold here, for people unfamiliar, is that Sans Chain Veil, you need, like, 15 devotion, and they don't have 15 devotion. So I think they just can't combo. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm like okay, but you can see they just flash back to Storm to try to get more devotion. But like they're just like not going anywhere. They're just having us both gain a bunch of life while they lose mana. And it's not enough life to mill me out, because I'm at, 38 cards in deck, and they haven't Chain Veiled, so they can't untap the Pestilent Cauldron repeatedly, as like you sometimes do. So my opponent's mana just keeps going down. Like, look at their mana. This is not working. They don't understand how to play their deck. I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. They either aren't playing the Chain Veil, or I don't know. Like, it's very weird. And they keep doing stuff like they just re-nick those to get more mana, but like their loops aren't making mana.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
so
what
there
else to
they
say.
played another Kiora, so they've made even more mana. Another
Right.
Karn just came down.
They're trying hard, but it's, I think, not actually working.
Right. They've wished for Pestilent Cauldron every time.
Yes. So yeah, this is gonna go on a while. Sorry, I can maybe accelerate.
No,
it,
it's kind of interesting to watch. I mean, just yeah, at whatever speed we can watch this, but it seems like we should be losing this game. They're sitting there like, ugh, why hasn't my opponent conceded yet?
Well, yeah, I was just honestly, the reason I didn't concede here, by the way, is that in the mono green mirror on Moto, often the clock is relevant.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't really. It's very weird what's happening here. But they just keep doing this, and now you can see they're down to 8 mana.
Oh, is it possible that they since you killed their Overgrown Tomb on turn 1, that they can't do their normal combo involves playing Pestilent Cauldron to mill you out, but maybe they can't cast Pestilent Cauldron now.
Oh, maybe they're playing the Golos to find the Overgrown Tomb? Yeah, that's... So, okay, for people unfamiliar, because Greg might be right. The normal kill condition with this deck is you use... Yeah, see now, wait, my opponent just attacked. So, the normal kill condition with this deck is you wish for a black source, eventually. And some people play Golos, and the Golos finds Overgrown Tomb, and the Overgrown Tomb is the black source. So maybe what just happened there is my opponent just, couldn't combo because they had no black source, but I also think their loops weren't generating mana, because this is only 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 devotion, and that's not enough to combo Sans Chain Veil. It's easily enough to combo with the Chain Veil.
What is enough to combo without the Chain Veil? Would you say 13, 14?
Without the Chain Veil, I believe it's 15 devotion.
Okay.
But I could be misremembering. I haven't not played the Chain Veil in so long.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, my opponent just fails the combo at the end of all this.
Okay, how many cards are in their deck?
34.
Okay, so we're not worried they're gonna mill themselves out. Yeah,
they weren't drawing cards with their combo.
Right.
Okay. All they were accomplishing was having us both gain life and them lose mana.
Okay.
That's the only result of all of that.
Okay.
So now it's my turn again, and things are weird, but okay. So I'm like, well, I still need to kill Karn really badly, and they have no storms or anything. So yeah, I think I just attack Karn with both my guys here. I'm pretty sure is what I do.
Yeah.
Which forces the double chump, and my opponent is again in a situation where one, in theory, could combo, but I'm pretty sure at this point they know they can't combo.
Yeah.
Because of whatever reason. Either the black source, or they know that this isn't enough devotion.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're down on devotion, although they did just create a Teferi emblem. What does that Teferi emblem do?
So the Teferi emblem says, untap all permanents you control during each opponent's untap step, you draw a card during each opponent's draw step.
Okay.
So, yeah, they did to create a Teferi emblem, and they wished for Needle on Lair of the Hydra, which is very strange. I would have expected them to wish for Restorative Burst just to, value Karn Teferi.
Okay.
But... yeah, I don't know. My opponent is not playing very well. So, anyway, they attack me for 8, but I'm at 55, so that doesn't matter at all.
Okay. So this is some nonsense that's happening. This is I'm gonna upset up to the nonsense counter in honor of our opponent
pretty insane
on this stream.
Okay, so then I draw Oath of Nissa, which is very good. Oh, and my opponent Basage used my Nictus in response, but that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, Oath of Nissa, which lets me cast Teferi, which is very good.
Yes.
And I believe I Oath of Nissa into something good here. I'm trying to remember what it was. Sorry.
All right, that's fine. Well, we're about to find out.
Oh, I think I take Beseiju here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I have the Nykthos in my hand if I want to play it, but for now I'm just going to play Teferi and I anticipate.
Okay.
And I
There's a
find Storm
Storm the Festival. That's exciting.
So now we're kind of off to the races, because I can Storm.
Okay,
and
and
I
there's a
into...
Karn.
Yeah, well, this Karn isn't lethal, but it lets me crew the Skyboat.
Yes, because you can plus Karn to make Skyboat a creature and activate
and then
it through
attack
Karn.
and kill their Karn, which means that I'm no longer afraid of comboing or anything out of them because they don't have a Karn anymore.
Sure.
And I have all these blockers back, so they can't really attack me.
And so now
suddenly,
it looks like Kyora's at 1. Okay.
Yeah, because the Skyboat hit. My opponent didn't block with Cav Thorns also, which is weird.
Okay,
I was suiciding the boat there to kill Karn, and they just didn't block.
Well, yeah, and Cav would let them get a card back in theory.
Well, it's a 5/5. When Karn plus on, it's actually only a 5/5. Because Karn just makes it a 5, like equal to
Interesting.
the
So they probably, that was a misplay on their part. They didn't realize that.
They should definitely have blocked.
Okay.
But yeah, so all right. Well, now I am tapped with Karn Teferi.
Okay.
Which, as big viewers will know, is lethal if you have basically any devotion at all. 5 is the minimum here.
Well, it gives you infinite life, right?
No. It gives me infinite life, infinite mana, and infinite Karn wishes.
I see. Okay.
So what's happening now is actually good enough because there's at least one cure in my graveyard, so I can at some point during this loop I will wish for Restorative Burst, recur Kiora, and then they die because I have Karn, Kiora, infinite mana.
Yeah.
So this is in fact lethal. So this game was completely absurd because I literally thought I was just unbelievably dead.
Yeah.
And I just didn't die.
Yeah.
And now you can see, like, yeah, this is the normal combo, Karn Kiora, and our opponent is deceased. We don't really need to watch the remainder of this, I don't think.
I think you should play it out. Play it out for stream.
Okay.
Because people viewing might want to slow this down and see actually the steps that you're taking to actually iterate the combo. Because as we just saw, some people play the deck and fall a little short of performing this. So notably, what we're seeing here involves Reckon or Bankbuster, where that treasure that we just made is going to be really important in a bit. Because we're going to need to make some black mana to cast Pestilent Cauldron to mill them out. And so at some point we've gained enough life that we can do this. And notably, we've activated the Chain Veil a handful of times here, so our Planeswalkers can activate at will. Which one thing this allows us to do is put those Planeswalkers in the graveyard and then recur them and get them back using our Pestilent Cauldron, the other side of it. And so here we've seen, I believe we've milled our opponent out. Yep, awesome.
And yeah, just for small thing on Moto, it's the fastest combo is to not iterate too many times, not gain too much life, activate the Chain Veil a bunch, and then use Kiora to untap Pestilent Cauldron, and each mill is only for like 12, and that is what I did here.
Okay.
But that's just a small speed thing, because again, on Moto, sometimes you have to combo really fast.
Yeah.
In fact, I know friend of the stream, Tommy Ashton, Stainerson on Moto, won a match where he had to combo in 3 minutes.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, that was the first game.
All right. I want to experiment with this game. I'm gonna recap. I'm gonna play by play, and then when there's interesting things to comment, you're gonna tune in. Okay. So just like keep it going at a reasonable pace, and I'll describe what's happening, and then when there's like really interesting strategy moments, you can chime in. Okay. All right,
I'm
so,
just letting it play then.
Sweet. So we have a great hand here because we have an early accelerant and an elf, and a Wolfwillow Haven, and Payoff, and Nykthos. So excellent hand. Although our opponent also has an excellent hand. They have double elf, double Oath of Nissa to start out the game. They found, honestly can't see that, what they found.
Oh,
but
sorry.
That's okay. Yep. We'll just keep on our plan. We have elf. Oh, any interest in attacking and offering the trade there, Andrew?
Oh,
I doubt they'd take it, but...
Not... I usually just don't do that. I don't know.
Yeah, and we really want to make sure we have 5 mana next turn, I suppose, to cast.
Yes, we would really like to play Cav on turn 3 or boat.
Yeah, so the plan is Cav rather than boating an elf in default, you'd say?
Yes, because, well, okay. First of all, this makes somewhat matter here. Our opponent revealed Karn.
Ah, okay.
So with Karn revealed, I really want to use my my boat to kill the Karn, because if I use my boat to anything else, then they play Karn, I can't animate the boat, and I can't do anything, kind of. But if I hold the boat when they play Karn and Wish, then the boat will finish off the Karn.
Yeah, hey Andrew, can you close the game log where the chat is?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome,
Sorry.
just to make things a little bigger. Thank you so much for that comment in chat. Awesome,
Yeah.
Okay. So, no attacks, so our opponent's taking their turn 3. It looks like they're tapping 5 mana, so they're going to play turn 3 Cav. We're going to play turn 3 Cav, so things are going back and forth, as you might expect in a mirror match.
Yep, both of us kind of have the best possible draw here, so...
Yep, which is very exciting, although we just found a Nykthos, which they already had, but a second Nykthos is very good, because sometimes you use 2 in one turn. Here, another 5 mana from... Oh no, there's the Karn that they found. So they're going to wish for God Pharaoh's statue. What do you think about that wish, Andrew?
Oh, yeah, let me pause this. I think this is a pretty wise wish by our opponent, actually, because basically they are worried that they cannot go as nuts as they would like here, clearly. They don't have, like, a storm in hand or anything like that. So what they need to do is stop us from killing them, right?
Okay.
And they have a few options for doing that. So they could have wished for Pithing Needle and named Karn. They could have wished for Damping Sphere to turn off both our Nykthoses. Or they could have wished for God Statue and make everything cost 2 more. Now, eventually, Mono Green will go over a God Pharaoh statue, like, reach the point where 2 more doesn't matter. But I think that basically guarantees that I won't kill them this turn. And then they get to untap another Karn Wish. They might even kill me next turn. They're not that far from it. So I think this is the best play because it maximizes their ability to combo while disrupting me somewhat. Even though it's not like a showstopper. I think it's just very, very likely to buy them their 1 turn. And that might be all they need. Also, it kind of looks like they're losing the fair game. Like, they have only 1 card in hand, and it's probably not that good because they probably would have played it last turn if it were that good. Which means that, like, okay, if they're not going to win a fair game, they have to win via the combo. So they probably don't want a Damping Sphere or Pithing Needle on Karn, because then they're just going to lose the fair game.
Yeah,
so
neat.
I think they likely made the best wish here.
Okay.
I think the only real alternative is Skyboat kill my elf, but I think I prefer the statue.
Okay, neat. So now let's see how that God Pharaoh statue affects us.
Yeah, so what just happened is we just played a 5 mana Old Growth Troll.
Ah, very awkward. Okay.
And then we're going to play a second 5 mana... Oh, sorry, then we'll play Skyboat.
Then we're going to play Sky... So now Nykthos allowed us to do that.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. And then that's going to take out that Karn. So now our opponent's board is looking pretty unimpressive.
Yes. But to be clear, to do this, I did use my Legend Rule Nykthos, so I no longer have that.
Okay. But that seems like a good use. It denies them a wish, hopefully strands them with not much to do.
Yes. Also, my boat could turn on now, which is pretty relevant.
Yes.
Okay,
there they found a storm, so they have some action going. Let's see what they find off their storm. So it looks like Wolfwillow Haven and another Nykthos. That'll definitely allow them to flash back their Storm the Festival. So now they found another Karn to turn off our boat and wish, and a Cavalier of Thorns. So now they're going to use their Karn to Transmogrifying Wand, but not activate it quite yet.
They don't have enough mana to activate it. Yeah,
excellent.
Playing the Wand costs all their mana. Now, I don't think Wand is a great wish here for my opponent, by the way. I don't really understand what they're trying to accomplish. I think, but I'm also not totally sure what they should wish for. So, like, what they should be afraid of is me comboing here, because I'm not that far from it. And if that's what they're afraid of, it just doesn't seem like Wand matters much.
Yeah, okay.
So I think either they should, again, shut off the Nykthoses and the Karns, or if they don't want to do that, then I think they should try to maximize their odds of comboing, and they can actually do that, because they could have wished for, like, for example, Heart of Kiran here, and the point of Heart of Kiran is that it lets you combo more easily off one Planeswalker, so they possibly could, like without the second... Oh, no, wait. They have 2 cards and 2 KRs. Never mind, that doesn't help. Sorry. They have many cards and KRs in their graveyard. I apologize.
From all their Storm the Festivals. Well,
from their
Caps, right.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So it's kind of unclear what they should wish for. I guess I probably just would have wished for Damping Sphere and just stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
Because under a Damping Sphere and a God Pharaoh statue, it seems very hard for me to get anywhere. Now, the one caveat with that is some people have cut Damping Sphere. It's actually one of the kind of flex slots. So if they didn't have a Damping Sphere, I'm not sure what they should have done. Because I really don't like needling Karn when they have a Karn that's very scary for me, and I, as far as they can tell, don't have a Karn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Damping Sphere is probably the right play. Just, like, lock out the combo entirely, And when I'm under Damping Sphere and Godfro statue, and they're just under Damping Sphere, probably they'll beat me in the fair game, is the
Yeah.
idea.
Okay. Alright, so now here we take another turn. We've drawn another Nykthos, but I think it's time to cast a Storm the Festival for 8 mana. That's all our devotion. Cav and Forest, not the best Storm the Festival that's ever happened, but we'll re-up our Nykthos, use the new devotion we just got to, I believe, flash back a Storm the Festival, finding Karn, and again, Layer of the Hydra. That lets us animate the Skyboat, which we're going to use to attack down their Karn, which is very nice, stopping them from doing any more wishes.
And they still
again,
don't block.
they don't block with the Cav, so probably they didn't realize that it was only a 5/5. But,
yeah,
you know,
definitely
that
not the tight
happens.
swipe from our opponent, but you know.
So here they're Nykthosing, so let's see what they do. They have they have a Storm to flashback. Okay, so that comes back. Looks like it just gets some lands, although it does get a new Nykthos, and so our opponent is trapped with not much to do. So now we're off to the races, because we have a Karn. So we'll use that Karn here and go Wish. Let's see what Andrew chooses to get. Here we're going to get a Meteor Golem, neat, okay, and destroy possibly the Godpharaoh statue? Yeah, we'll get that.
Yes, so I can't combo through the statue here.
Okay.
Because it's a very mana-intense version of the combo, because I only have one Karn and one Kiora, and the Kiora doesn't start in play. So I take out the statue, and then I kill them,
Yeah,
basically.
so now we have the Chain Veil. So now we're going to get multiple activations from our Planeswalkers. We're going to be able to go get Restorative Burst. There's a Kiora in our graveyard from an earlier Cav. And now we're going to get to be able to see Andrew implement the combo again. And again, I predict he's going to do the same thing as before. Oh, so here there's a Heart of Kirin involved.
Yes, so basically, I only have one Karn and one Kiora, so I need to be able to sack them, and I didn't have enough mana to activate a Chain Veil enough times to be able to, like, have them manually kill themselves. So it's important that I find the Heart of Kirin so that I can basically sack them so that I can recur them.
Yeah, so you can sack them by crewing again and again. Then we're going to recur both of them again with Pestilent Cauldron. And then we can activate them twice, which is going to give us tons of mana, especially being able to do Kiora again because of that Nykthos. I predict what we're about to see. So there's the Nykthos on tap. Now you can see in the bottom left there's quite a lot of mana. It's kind of hard to see exactly what that number is.
Sorry, it's 36 right now.
36,
yeah.
so, and it looks to be going up. And so now we can activate the Chain Veil again and again, and we're going to see a new iteration of what we saw last time. Again, we've sacrificed the Planeswalkers and gotten them back. And we can see every time we do that, we get a couple wishes, a couple Chain Veil activations. Here we're going to make that treasure. We've now activated the Chain Veil enough. We'll draw 3 cards. In a second, we're going to use that treasure to cast Petulant Cauldron. Just like before, each time, it looks like we're not milling them out for too much, but since we can untap it so many times with Kiora, we'll eventually remove their entire library. And our opponent is now deceased. And so that's our first match, a mono-green mirror that we took down, where our opponent seemed to really struggle. Perhaps...
Well, I think they definitely hard punted game 1. Game 2 is more complicated. They may have punted it, but I may have won anyway. It's unclear.
Yeah. So
game 1 was bizarre.
Yeah, it seemed like not blocking the Skyboat was a mistake. And then also perhaps getting that Transmagic Refined Wand. Yeah, game 1, it might be because of that, the Overgrown Tomb.
Maseju, yeah, you might be right. Like, Golos for Overgrown Tomb is a very old school black source, but yeah, maybe my opponent was playing an old school list. I don't know.
Yeah. Sweet. So we can hop into the next game. I think based on time, we might not have time to do every single match. And so, Andrew, if you maybe want to pick and choose some of the ones that might be a little more interesting.
Okay, yeah. Man, I have to remember which ones those are.
That's fine. I mean, we can just keep going, and if, you know...
Right, sorry. I wasn't sure how much time this would take, to be honest.
Yes, okay, so here we have another... We have to mulligan that hand, because it did not have early accelerants. But here we've gotten to a pretty great 6-card hand. You can see we're doing exactly what we want. Turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Kiora plus Oath. We've got some great ones in our hands. And oh man, a Dome Re-Raid from our opponent. So this is...
Yeah, so just to talk about this slightly, I looked up my opponent, you can do that on Moto, and I knew they were playing this weird Dinosaurs deck with Ghalta Primal Hunger in it.
Okay, so that's a turn, 4 Ghalta Primal Hunger from our opponent? That is pretty scary.
Sadly, that is not sufficient to defeat green, basically ever.
Okay, and so here it looks like we're Storm the Festivaling. Yeah, it looks like we have more power than our opponent does, even though they have Ghalta. So that's not great for them, and we're able to take down their rampaging Ferostodon.
Yeah.
What? Oh, Galta is now fighting a Cav. Okay, so that lets us put something on top, which it looks like you put another Cav on top, or
No, I
oh
put
no, a
Kiora on
Kiora.
top because I'm just going to combo them right now.
Okay.
Yeah, like what's about to happen is my opponent is dead. I have a card in my hand, a card in the graveyard, and two Kioras, which basically means infinite mana. And they actually concede the card right away here.
Okay,
But yeah.
so our
And in
opponent
fact,
saw the writing on the walls with this one.
I think we should skip the rest of this match. Basically, this is a good example of something I'll just talk about a little briefly, which is most decks that are bad aren't bad because they can't win a game. They're bad because they're a strictly worse version of something else. And it turns out that, like, if you're going to play an 8 elf deck, which my opponent definitely is here, Galta is just too small ball, and you just go all the way to Mono Green Devotion and actually combo them and win. Like, Galta just doesn't matter. So, anyway, we can skip this match. Basically, it's similar. I beat them badly. So let's go to round 3.
All right, now we're 2-0, feeling great in the RCQ.
Yes, well, it's a million rounds, but yeah, that's true. So anyway.
Also, maybe I'll give a quick caveat. We did say we were going to stream the RCQ on Thursday, but we decided against it mostly because we were worried it would not be legal for me to be sitting next to Andrew. And so I was downstairs I was napping at this time, actually. So if you were looking forward to that, sorry, but you do get to watch it now, so hopefully this makes up for the fact that we did not stream the RCQ on Friday. Anyway,
right.
We have an interesting hand here with only one land, but it does have a Mystic and a Wolfwillow Haven, and it looks like Andrew's chosen to keep it.
Right. Well, so I think okay. So okay. Here's the situation. So I looked at my opponent as I did every round. There was no information. I could not learn anything about VIat. This hand, I think on the play is pretty dubious because the elf dies are basically dead. But I was on the draw and I was like, well, basically if I draw a second land ever, I'm all set even if the elf dies because like I'll play turn 2 Wolfwillow into turn 3 Kiora and then have plenty of mana even if I don't hit a third land like basically at all. And if the elf lives, well, my hand is kind of the nut. Like, it's very good. Like let's say my elf lives and I don't hit a land, for example, right?
Yep.
So then I'm gonna play turn 1 elf, turn 2 Wolfwillow, turn 3 Kiora, and I'll actually have on turn 4, I'll have enough mana to like cast Cav and draw a card.
Yeah.
And that's assuming I haven't hit any lands. If I hit any lands, then we're looking at a turn 4 Storm the Festival. So like this hand has a very, very high ceiling, and I don't think the floor is that bad. Basically, we need to either brick on land for 2 draw steps, because we're on the draw, and have our elf die. And if both those things happen, I'm pretty much conceding, but I just think that's, like, not that likely. Like, what are we talking about? Those 2 events combined, like, 10% chance?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like the upside is there.
Yeah, I love that explanation, so let's see how it goes. So, we're on the draw, so our opponent will kick things off with so now it looks... so now we're playing Bant Spirits, which it'll be interesting to see how this goes for Andrew, because on stream last time when we tested, we did lose to some Bant Spirits. However, one Andrew Ellenbogen claimed that it's actually a good matchup. So here we're playing Oath to try and hit the land, very likely to do so. We do, so we can play Wolfwillow. Would have been really rough if we didn't hit there, but definitely worth the risk. Alright, so our opponent is attacking us down with some spirits, leaving up mana to probably cast Spell Queller. And so we'll play Kiora into a likely Queller, which it does in fact get quelled.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what my other option is there. I have a second Kiora, so it seemed pretty free.
Yep.
Also, my opponent does not currently have green mana, for whatever that's worth.
Okay, so they can't Collected Company if they have it. Alright, so now we have another Kiora. This time they don't have the Queller, fortunately. So we'll play an Old Growth Troll and draw a card. It looks like we might just be dead here.
Yeah, I pretty much do just lose after keeping... I don't know, I definitely would keep again knowing they're Bant Spirits, but my first Kiora getting quelled into me not hitting a land drop on that turn to be able to cast Cav, for example, is pretty much death. If I hit the land, I think it's actually pretty okay.
Yeah.
But... you know, so be it. I mean, definitely one of the downsides of this hand is that I'm not that likely to hit my third land drop. That is asking a lot.
Sure.
But, you know, so be it. So I lose to Bant in that game.
All right, so now we're going to move on to game 2. And so now we're bringing in a second boat into the deck, right?
Yes.
Basically the only sideboard change you ever make.
That is correct. So I have boarded in the second boat here. I believe I boarded out the Teferi. That's usually what I do against Bant. And so we kind of have 6 threats, 2 boats and 4 calves that are all really good at stopping them cold because they have spell callers and skyclaves, right? A 5-drop is basically unkillable.
Yeah,
Is the point.
and they both can block flyers.
Yes,
which is very nice. So let's see how this one goes. So we're on the play here, and we quickly mulliganed that hand with no accelerants. And here we are, a little bit awkward of a hand, but we have turn 1, turn 2, and hopefully we'll draw something else to do. Perfect. Wolfwell Haven lets us play that and Sylvan Caryatid. And now they're playing out some spirits. So this is a little awkward, I believe, because we could cast Storm, but they can counter it. Oh, but perfect. We've drawn Cavalier of Thorns. Probably.
Yeah, that was pretty lucky, drawing a cav there, for sure.
I assume you would not have cast, if you had just drawn a land, I assume you would not have cast Storm into the Maelstrom Wanderer?
Probably not, no.
Okay.
But here I just cast it, and yeah, I think that's a pretty clear play.
Yeah, so you had 4 mana up, it looks like, so...
Right, so in order for it to go wrong, they have to do something like flash in 2 spirits and sack both Maelstrom Wanderers, and it's kind of like, well, if they do that, okay, both Maelstrom Wanderers are dead, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, so it looks like our Storm found Karn and another Nykthos, so we're going to go ahead and make a wish.
Yes.
And I predict we're going to be getting a Skyboat here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I was right.
Yeah, boat here is great. It's very difficult for them to counter, and yeah, it just lets me pick off these Maelstrom Wanderers, which is going to also... coincidentally, make it much easier for me to flashback this Storm without having to worry about the
And there
attack.
we can see we cast a bunch of 5-drops, none of which they were able to Queller, and they had to play their Queller as an awkward 2/3 flyer. But now they are representing Collected Company.
Oh, they sure are.
Kind of sounds like Andrew doesn't think that'll be enough.
Yeah, so here I'm actually using Restorative Burst the fair way, just to, like, recur a Cav and a Troll.
Okay.
Actually. And yeah, I think this is a pretty good line, just because, like, well, I'm just gonna make a Cav and have infinite devotion, and it's another flying blocker, which is pretty good.
And it looks like they did cast Collected Company.
Okay, right. And I chose, by the way, not to crew the boat, because it doesn't really accomplish anything. They're just gonna tap it anyway.
Right.
Sorry, I guess that's not really important. It's pretty minor.
No, that's a good thing to notice. And here they're able to tap down both our blockers. And either take down our Karn or us. Okay, that's a lot of damage they've got, so let's see how much...
they don't quite have lethal on me here.
Yep, and they're leaving their Spirits back to do some tapping, it looks like. But here we've assembled quite a lot of devotion, and we have another... Oh, we have a Flashback Storm the Festival. So that over Karn, it looks like?
Well, yeah, so I don't have quite enough devotion to combo. You can trust me on that.
Okay.
And I kind of need to combo, because they're going to tap 2 blockers again here.
Yep.
Right? And, like, 1 blocker isn't going to save me from 12 here, essentially. Right? So, assume that I need to combo this turn no matter what, and assume that I'm right that 1 card is enough to combo, which I am.
Okay.
And so I cast Storm and basically hoped. And I missed, except that I hit Oath, and the Oath found Kiora, and Kiora is actually just good enough here.
Yeah, so it looks like you have exactly 3... Oh, no, that's... you'd already tapped for it. Okay, so now we're making a lot of mana with Kiora. Now we're going to cast this Karn, and now we are off to the races. So I predict we're going to
this is just good enough. The heuristic you should generally use, just to be clear about comboing, is anytime you can wish for Chain Veil, pay to activate Chain Veil, and then have enough mana to untap Nykthos and use it, they're dead if you have Karn Kiora and Karn Kiora in the yard. That's just always good enough all the time.
Okay.
So, yeah, straightforwardly, they die from here. I don't know if we need to keep watching this combo.
Yeah, but... I think, again, let's just speed through it as quickly as we can. I think it might be helpful, again, if people want to go back and watch. I know when I first picked up the deck, I kind of heard, okay, they're dead a lot of times, and was sometimes struggled with actually implementing it. So, okay, anyway, they've conceded, so I guess never mind, but...
Right. Okay, so then I play game 3 against Bant Spirits, which, again, matchup we sure lost a lot on stream, but yeah.
Yeah, we've been told it's an unfavorable matchup, so, an awesome hand here. We have our boat, and we have 2 elves. We get to, on turn 2, have the play of, if everything goes right, we get to Kiora, untap a land, play an elf, so that's really, really exciting for us. Although here it looks like they're going to make the play of tapping our elf in our upkeep, okay. That's fine.
Yeah, which is a good play by them. Usually you should Shackle Thyself when you can with Spirits, try to, like, build up a critical mass board, kind of.
Yeah.
And you can see they're kind of continuing to disrupt me.
Okay.
So I still can't boat because of all this like tapping and whatnot. But
right, but here we now have enough accelerants that's going to be hard for them.
Yes. And I think my opponent's going to realize that it's kind of futile now, and so they just attack. They chose to attack me because they can't kill Kiora, which is, I think, reasonable.
All right, so now we get to cast that Storm, which is going to let us draw some cards.
Yeah, so we hit Nykthos. Yes, we hit with the Cav and the land here, right? My Cav just finds a random land.
Yep.
And then I'm just going to play the Skyboat and kill one of their Shackled Geists.
Okay.
I also... Sorry, wait. Pause for a second. I also use Karn to crew the boat as an additional blocker.
Okay.
Because basically, it doesn't seem like wishing for anything really matters. And, like, this way, you know, it's very hard for them to kill my walkers. Like, imagine this, right? Let's say they play 2 spirits. Okay, so they play 2 spirits. It takes 4 spirits to tap both blockers, and they can attack Karn with 1 thing. Like, that probably will still let me wish, honestly, right? Like, unless they specifically have, like, 2 lords or something. It's, like, pretty great for me, I think.
All right, and I'm trying to put the text of Karn into the chat so that people can read the -1, although I am clearly struggling a bit. There we go. There's Karn the Great Creator, so that notably, that +1 activates it until your next turn. Yeah, Andrew, we won't be able to read that, unfortunately.
Sorry. So yeah, basically, it animates the artifact until your next turn, and it gives it power and toughness equal to its mana cost. So for vehicles, what that does is it basically overwrites the vehicle's native power and toughness, but the vehicle keeps all its other attributes.
Nice. So it still has flying, that attack trigger, yeah. I've been trying to put some of the weirder cards we've been wishing for. I've been trying to put their text in the chat. Again, if you're watching, feel free to use the MTG bot command. If you do !card and then write on a card, we can put it. That'll put it there. If you don't know, let us know and we'll put it in the chat.
All right, so we defeated Bant Spirits in the end.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, this looks good enough. They can siege
the Karn here, and they are dead. This is the combo.
Okay.
So yeah, I assume they did not have a way to remove it like Skyclave.
I think that's the one we just watched.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You are right. So let me scroll to round 4.
All right, so now we're at 3-0.
Yep. So round 4, I keep a pretty easy keep. And sorry, you can go.
No, totally fine. Again, another 1-land hand, but this one's enough. And oh man, it looks like we're playing Bant Spirits again. Really happy we have that Cav in our hand.
And I mean, I do think with the Oath, by the way, it's basically just a keep. It's not interesting.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because Oath can find a land most of the time, is the idea.
Yeah, right? Pretty much Oath is a land if you want it to be.
So here we get to Kiora and beat out the Spell Queller. Assuming they have one. And this is great. We'll get to cast a Cav, which seems to be our best play against Spirits, especially when we get to draw a card off Kiora. Although we did whiff off our Cav trigger. And is that 3 Storm at the Festivals in the graveyard?
Yes, it is.
I see? All right. So
if we had Nykthos here, it'd be great, but we just don't.
Awkwardly, there's a Shacklegeist to tap down the blockers, and it looks like they've killed our Kiora, so in a bit of a rough spot, but there's another Cavalier of Thorns. And this time we find Lair of the Hydra. Okay, not too exciting. But
it's weird, right? I'm running hot by drawing all these Cavs and casting them, but cold by failing to find Nykthos.
That's true. Let's see if the top of our library will help us out. Oh, they're going to tap the Elf, just like our last opponent did. Alright, so now it looks like we're going to play, another Kiora, and now they have the Spell Queller.
Yeah, the idea of Kiora being that I just want to, like, draw a card off Old Growth Troll to try to find Nykthos, essentially.
Okay.
Like, sans Nykthos, Karn won't really help me, is kind of the logic.
Yep, and now they're tapping down some things, and going to Skyclave our Elf, and this is a big attack, but not quite a lethal one. And they're going to leave back some creatures for some more tapping. Tap the Elf again. There's a Nykthos, so now we're
top deck Nykthos,
off to the races with mana.
Yes. So, yeah, here what I did was I found Skyboat to kill the Spell Queller. This isn't a value play. What I'm trying to do is combo, and I need that Kiora.
Yeah, alright, so there's our Kiora, which lets us untap Nykthos, use it again. I assume here playing Old Growth Troll is basically free, because you're going to activate Nykthos again. Is that the idea?
Not quite. I can't...
we can't combo, okay.
So, yeah, so I can't combo, because I didn't have enough mana to wish for... So, okay, I don't have an advantage to wish for Chain Veil, activate Chain Veil, and use Nykthos again after I untap it with Kiora.
Okay.
Right? So since I can't combo, all I do, like, I just played the Old Growth Troll, drew a card in case it was relevant, and then I just wished for Heart of Kiran to essentially have another blocker.
All right.
And
yeah.
so now, what I'm presenting here is I have Cavalier of Thorns, I have the Skyboat crewed off the Old Growth Troll, and I have the Heart of Kiran.
Okay.
So I am presenting 3 flying blockers, and they don't have any lords, so like they definitely don't have lethal through this. You can see I'm at 11.
Right.
So
and they probably don't have a company because they would have played it last turn over that Skyclave Apparition on an elf.
Yes, and they're also like in check. It says they're pretty much dead if I untap for like a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So my opponent does just pack it in here, which maybe is a little premature, but I don't know if they don't have anything, like they don't have a company or something. Like I just don't see how they ever win this game. They have to like tab a bunch of things, attack Karn, lose a guy to Heart of Kiran, and then I untap with Skyboat, and they have to tap that. Like I don't know, it's very hard.
That's rough for them.
So I think the concession here is reasonable, swing they nothing. But boy, I was definitely sweating this game.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we can go to game 2 of this match against the Bant Spirits player.
So tell us about this hand.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's okay. You can keep going as you're talking about it, I think.
Okay. So yeah, this hand, because it has double Wolf Willow and Cav and Storm, I decided to keep because the payoffs are so good, even though it didn't have an elf. And I think in Bant Spirits specifically, it's like really important to have either Cav or Storm because like your other cards just always get Skyclaved or Spellquellered or like they never matter. So I kept, even though I don't really like elfless hands, I decided that like 2 good payoffs plus like 2 accelerants was sufficient.
So here our opponent is making some really aggressive plays to keep you off 5 mana. Notably, they channeled Odawara there to really keep you off.
Well, I kind of suspect they were flooding. And they didn't have a good play, and they drew the company. But it's unclear what I should do with that information. I fortuitously dropped a Skyboat here, so I just take out the Shacklegeist on the logic that, well, then I'm just going to be able to block their guys.
Yep, although they flashed in a Spectral Sailor to stop us from crewing the boat. So there's a big attack coming here, especially with this Catilda. Well, they draw a card off Spectral Sailor, but might have just found a Supreme Phantom. Probably their best possible draw. So we find a Cav and an Elf. We're going to attack with the Skyboat.
But I'm just dead here.
We do appear to just be dead.
Basically, I calved because I just need to kind of calve in a Nykthos and then try to go off or something, but that sure didn't happen.
Yep.
So, I basically am just dead. This is just enough damage to even given that I killed the Shadow-Geist, which is the max damage prevention, I'm just still deceased.
Yep, and that weird spirit in the middle that you might not be familiar with is Catilda, Dawnheart something, which sometimes is played as a one-of in the Spirits deck.
I actually think it's gaining steam right now. I've started to see like up to 2 or 3 copies.
Really? Okay. Yeah, it does get really big.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Baneslayer Angel, presupposing that you have a lot of spirits in play.
Sure.
And it turns out that accompanying to Baneslayer Angel is pretty good.
That I do. I would love to accompany into a Baneslayer Angel. So, all right, now we're on to game 3, another rubber match against Spirits, and we have another hand that looks great. We've got some accelerants, we've got some 5-drops in Boat and Storm the Festival. And so we'll start out with our elf and see where this game goes.
I'm really seeing the power of the boat in this matchup, to be honest. It's just obviously, 6 is so much more than 4 as far as 5-drop save you payoffs.
So no turn. Oh no, I guess just a Spectral Sailor. So pretty awkward start from our Bant Spirits opponent. They attack Kiora down to 6. A bit of an interesting play. Ooh, and they have a Lofty Denial to counter our boat. So that's a little awkward.
Yes, but I did kind of play around it. Like I played, maybe that's not true. I mean, at least I have the Storm back, I guess is the idea. But the Maelstrom Wanderer means a little awkward.
Yep, and here we have a Cav and a Troll. Draw 2 cards, get a land, play an Elf that we just drew. Looks like we might be getting kind of close to comboing them.
Yeah, and my opponent just scooped here, which I don't really know the contents of their hand.
Whoa, how many cards are in their hand? It's hard to see from up here.
It's 2.
Okay, so probably they just had, like, I don't know, lands or
Well,
yeah.
they didn't make any plays, so I think their hand might be like counter magic, maybe.
Okay.
Because they played so little in the early turns, right? As you may recall.
Right.
But like, yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense, no matter what you,
Weird.
no matter how. So yeah, I admit that this game, basically, my Band Spirits point had a terrible draw. But I honestly think that Band Spirits has a fair number of terrible draws. It doesn't have a lot of ways to mitigate Flood, and it also doesn't have a lot of ways to mitigate lack of early guys. So
Yeah.
you're really at the mercy of your draws. Like, if they always have the 1-2-3 curve, it looks great, but you know.
Yeah, and it really does look like you were doing some sweet things. So even if they had a better draw, you might have been able to pull this one out.
I do think that. I mean, I think here I'm going to untap and combo them extremely likely.
Yeah.
But yes. Anyway, if they could kill the first Kiora, then maybe they can live a turn, but I'm still going to have a pretty good turn.
Yeah, and we're still at 20 life because they've been ticking down this Kiora a little bit, so...
Yes. So, okay, we defeat Band Spirits.
Alright, so 2-0 against the, quote, good matchup, bad matchup, Band Spirits.
Yes, okay. And, in fact, I might skip round 5 here. I'm going to go to round 6.
Alright, let's go to round 6. So, I assume you're 5-0 at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
I defeated Enigmatic Incarnation. It wasn't that interesting. Enigmatic Incarnation is quite a favorable matchup. Mostly you just kill them. They can't really interact with you sufficiently to stop your combo.
Okay.
And they're not fast.
Okay.
Anyway, so this time I'm going to play Old Man of the Sea, who does top 8 this tournament, is what I will say.
Interesting. Okay.
So, okay. Let's get the show on the road.
I hear that you also top 8'd this tournament.
Oh, I did, yeah. So...
Alright, great looking hand. I guess a little awkward in terms of payoffs, but we do have an Elf and an Oath. So now a Witch's Oven, so that tells us we're playing the Black-Red Sacrifice deck. What do you think about that matchup?
Green is favored, but not by, like, a ton.
Okay, and they've opened with Cat Oven, which is the most busted thing they can do, I've heard.
Right, but we've drawn Karn, which is very, very good against them, mostly because of its static.
Yeah, so here Karn is stopping the Witch's Oven from being activated. And
yes.
Here you've got Skyship.
Sorry. So I got Skyship here because, okay, this matchup is all about Mayhem Devil. Basically, you spend your life living in fear of Mayhem Devil. Mayhem Devil usually comes into play, gets a bunch of value, kills a bunch of elves, and then if they untap, kills you.
Yeah.
That's the play pattern. So I'm wishing for Skyboat mostly to control Mayhem Devil, partially to clean up smaller creatures like Blood Death Harvesters or whatever, but mostly it's so that if they play Mayhem Devil, I want to untap and slam Skyboat.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
And we might have missed it, but our Karn just unfortunately got killed by our own Old Growth Troll with Claim the Firstborn, which then turned off the Karn on the Witch's Oven and let our opponent then sacrifice the Old Growth Troll, which is quite awesome.
Yeah, and actually, against Red Black Sack, Old Growth Trolls are a real liability because of plays like this. Oftentimes, your opponent has trouble killing Karn, kind of with their own creatures, because they're kind of mopey. But if you play an Old Growth Troll, it's a really easy way for them to kill Karn. And in fact, it's so bad, I actually board one out in this matchup.
Okay, is it possible that you should have plussed the Karn to prevent this from happening?
It's possible. I was concerned about... Well, so, like... Okay. If I... Wait. So... I do think that, like... Yeah, maybe I should have plussed.
You get to take a food down with you? You know, not that that's that relevant, but...
Yeah, I mean, they're going to sack...
Oh, sack it and
they have
back
Witches Familiars.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
So they're going to sack response. I was worried about a scenario where I would never get a Karn activation there, but I guess that's pretty unlikely. Like, to do that, they'd have to, like, untap, play Mayhem Devil, and get a bunch of pings.
Well, they'd have a cat, so cat plus troll is 5 damage, right?
Yes.
So they could just fairly use the Claim the Firstborn to deal 4 to Karn.
Yes, and they could still just sack the Karn to something else.
Yeah, okay.
This isn't sounding great.
Okay,
I think the wish is correct.
Okay, I agree, after talking it through.
No. It's worth pointing out. It's definitely a reasonable play.
So things aren't looking great for us as we stumble on mana a little bit, but we're going to use our 2 Oaths. First to find a forest, then to find another Karn. Player Kiora. Kiora is probably just going to sit here because we don't have anything to untap. And pass back to our opponent, see what they show us. Now there's the scary card. There's the Mayhem Devil, which along with Cat Oven takes down our Elf. Kiora takes some damage here, and we are able to take that Mayhem Devil down, which is nice, although it looks like Kiora is going to take some damage in the process.
Yeah, so they basically can just kill Kiora here pretty easily,
Yep.
and so what's happening right now, just to be clear, is you can sack multiple foods to a Cauldron Familiar to get extra Mayhem Devil triggers, kind of in response, even though the additional triggers will not do anything.
Yep. Okay, so there's a Kroxa, and it looks like we discarded Karn there.
Right, so actually, okay, sorry, this is actually a pretty interesting spot. Sorry, I should have paused it slightly earlier.
Totally fine.
But basically, our opponent was going to play Kroxa and sack it to Witch's Oven for some food. And the question is, which of Karn, Old Ghost Troll, and Cap should we discard, right?
Yep.
And basically, I think discarding Old Ghost Troll is insane, because it's a 3-mana creature that crews Skyboat, which kind of seems great here. Yes, it dies to claim the Firstborn, but they've already used one, they have one card in hand, I'm not that worried about it.
Yep.
Right? The question is, which of the expensive cards should we keep? And what I kind of reasoned was like, alright, well, if I'm crewing Skyboat every turn and attacking them, things are going well. So, for things to be going poorly, probably they kill my Old Ghost Troll. And if they kill my Old Ghost Troll, I was kind of afraid I just, like, wouldn't be able to protect my Karn from their, like, beatdowns from, like, this Den and this guy. So, what I decided to do is discard Karn, but maybe that's wrong, because I can still, like, crew the Skyboat and leave it home, stuff like that, in these scenarios where they kill my Old Ghost Troll that I'm worried about. So I'm not too sure whether discarding Karn or Cav was right. I think discarding Old was clearly wrong. But notably, I am pretty constrained on mana, so like there is a question of like how valuable is Karn going to be with this little mana. I don't know. What do you think? I think it's a pretty interesting play.
I really liked the logic that you just walked through there. I think that made a lot of sense to me.
Okay, so you like discarding Karn.
I like discarding Karn. I was surprised when you did it, but I think you've convenced me.
Okay,
I don't know what you
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm still not sure this is right, to be frank, but
yeah.
It is what I did.
Yeah, I'm just kind of worried about it living.
Yeah, well, I think that is a very reasonable worry.
Yeah.
So,
I just, by the way, want to take a quick pause. In case you've joined us since we've started, welcome to the SystemMagic stream, and things look a little different today. You may have noticed. It's just me here because Andrew is upstairs replaying some of the matches through Magic Online. Unfortunately, because Magic Online is from forever, he can't do it on our streaming computer, so he's upstairs. We were listening to him over Discord chat. So sorry things look a little weird, but Andrew, not to spoil it, but goes on to win this tournament. So we wanted to go back and watch some of the matches and see what we could learn about Mono Green. And honestly, I think if you're looking to get into Mono Green in Pioneer, which is one of, if not the best decks, I think there's no better resource than watching an expert pilot it. And so what's happening is I'm trying to do some play-by-play. Andrew's trying to comment in with some color commentary and explanation and strategy. If you have any questions about what's going on, please comment in on the chat. And we'll be back tomorrow with live Magic. But anyway, sorry for the interruption. Take it away. So it looks like you found an oath. And so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
I have a choice of Elf and Cav here. A second Cav doesn't seem very relevant, so I take the Elf. But then obviously I play the Troll because I want to take down this Bloodtooth Harvester.
Yep, and so now things are... We don't have that much mana, we don't have that much going on, but we've also slowed down our opponent. I mean, they have Witch's Oven and such, but they don't have too much going on.
Yeah, and also, we are kind of killing them too, right? Like, this boat is putting them to 6. Now, they're not going to be dead next turn because they have these foods and, like, these Cauldron Familiars,
right.
But they are on a pretty real clock, regardless of that.
Yep. And can Boat's ability go face?
No, it cannot.
It cannot. Okay, so here they found another claim and a Dreadbore. So not looking great for us here.
Yeah, Dreadbore actually a pretty surprising card, by the way.
Oh, that's true.
They don't usually main deck that.
Yeah, so red black mid range plays a lot of that, but red black
right. So now here they're just proxing me. I'm discarding Boat, but I'm at 4.
Yeah.
And so things are bad. Yeah. So I'm gonna be dead next turn to just literally the cat oven pings and nothing else.
Right.
And I can't kill them, so I'm just dead.
Kind of seems like we're losing this game.
Yes. So yeah, we did lose this game. It did turn out that I drew the 5th land kind of way too late.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Maybe if I had kept Karn, I would have won. But it's sort of unclear, like, because, yeah, I mean, they would have attacked it some, but, like, I could have wished for Crypt and gotten rid of that Kroxa that eventually came back and was very relevant, even though it kind of took a while. I don't know. it's all pretty complex. I'm not sure what would have happened if I discarded the Cav. Certainly, me not drawing a 5th land for a long time is like a really bad outcome.
Right.
But it's unclear how foreseeable that outcome was. So, yeah, that's why I lose the first game to Red Black.
Okay, so any do you bring in your second boat against Red Black?
Yes, and I
and you cut the
old
troll. You mentioned that earlier. That's right.
Yes, because I'm trying to kill Mayhem Devil. Again,
Okay.
the two most important cards are Mayhem Devil on their side and Karn on my side in general.
Okay.
Although certainly me like comboing and stuff matters too.
All right. So here we've got another great hand. We've got fast accelerants. We've got Kiora. We've got a Cav. They fatal push our turn 1 elf, but that's totally fine because we have Wolfwillow Haven. Awkwardly, our deck doesn't play that many odd mana value cards, so sometimes when they kill an elf, it can be really awkward, but Wolfwillow Haven is an exception to that. Here we have a great play of being able to Kiora, untap our forest, play another Wolfwillow Haven, notably target the same forest, so this Kiora and the next can untap that. Fable of the Mirror Breaker from our opponent, setting up a lot of threats here. And we get to play our Cav, draw a card off Kiora, activate its ability to go find a land, just finding a forest. But now we can untap that 3 mana land and Karn Wish for a Skyboat to take out some of these threats. The Goblin Token, the Bloodtooth Harvester, and the Fable if it flips into Echoes of Kiki-Jiki. There's a Mayhem Devil, though, so that's...
So, sorry, to be clear what happened just there, they just claimed their own Mayhem Devil to give it haste.
Okay, to take down Karn.
Right, and so they're actually losing their Mayhem Devil here, because they can't sack the Blood Token, they have no... or the Treasure Token, right? They have no way to generate triggers into the Karn, but they're just literally claiming their own Mayhem Devil to get the Karn off the table. It's like that important to them.
Amazing.
And just another small note here, I often find this matchup that Cav of Thorns is like the key to stabilizing, just because it can't be claimed or fatal pushed, so it's kind of on the table forever.
Okay, and now we have a boat to take down that goblin, stop some more treasures from happening. Notably, they played a Witch's Oven, another reason they got Karn off the table. And now they're sacrificing some blood. It looks like they found another Bloodtooth Harvester to keep the blood flowing. And let's see what we do on our next turn. I predict we're going to start with this Cav. Oh, never mind. We're going to start with Kiora, right?
Right, Kiora's free, so...
Yeah, it's free,
start with Kiora.
And we'll get to draw a card.
Yes.
Right, it's free because you tap it for 3 and then activate it to untap the land. Neat. So we draw a card. Ooh, we draw Storm the Festival.
All right, so let me pause here for a second. So here I actually have a pretty interesting decision. So I'm definitely going to crew boat, and I'm definitely going to attack with the boat. The interesting decision is that I have this Boseiju that I'm going to channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see it, I have 2 plays. I could boat, kill a Bloodtooth Harvester, and channel on Reflection because it's an enchantment.
Okay.
Or I could crew boat, kill the Reflection, and channel on the Witch's Oven.
Okay.
Those are kind of my 2 options. And basically the way I feel is this. I here am terrified of Mayhem Devil, as I am usually, right? And I kind of felt that the card that would generate more Mayhem Devil-like triggers between, like, this Bloodtooth Harvester and Witch's Oven was the Oven. Because, like, the Oven is just going to mean that they can sack their creature, getting a trigger, they'll make a food. That food can be sack generated trigger. They also might build up food over the course of the game with stuff like Croxas. If they ever find a cat, that's like, you know, like, basically the route to victory here involves Mayhem Devil going nuts, and Witch's Oven is the more go nuts card, right?
Yep.
So what I decided to do was crew my boat, kill the Reflection with the boat, and then channel on the Witch's Oven. And I'm still not too sure if it was right or wrong. Oh, actually, this is a small mistake. I should have channeled the Witch's Oven first.
Right,
before
to
I
deny
attacked.
them a food.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. I did screw that up.
Oh, and we did it. Okay, so...
So then they drew cat, so then in response I channeled the Boseiju, because no reason to, like, kill the Witch's Oven before their turn, like, doesn't really accomplish anything, unless I'd killed it before I attacked, which I should have done.
Right, and it looks like your opponent has now conceded.
Right, and this is a pretty reasonable concession by them, I think. I mean, they're just kind of going nowhere. I'm at 20. They're not going to be able to kill me with Mayhem Devil triggers, really. It looks like they have no cat oven. The boat's just going to kill them.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad all the way around.
Yep.
All right, so game 3.
Amazingly, this is the first time that I don't know if you're going to win or lose. I actually have no idea the outcome of this game. Because I don't think you go undefeated, so I think a loss is coming. Okay, so we've mulled to 6, but it looks like we have a great 6. Our opponent started with Witch's Oven. We're starting with Elf. Things going good for both players. They play a Bloodtooth Harvester. We're going to play Lead on Oath. That makes sense. Oath finds us Karn, as we just learned, one of the most important cards of the matchup. There's our one of Sylvan Caryatid, which we've claimed an elf, sacrificed it, attacks, so our opponent's doing some pretty good things. Unfortunately,
they also use the elf for mana as well.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Alright, so we've found a Karn, but this Karn does not seem to be long for this world, with all these 3/2s for our opponent, and we've wished for Dark Steel
Well,
Citadel.
they couldn't really protect Karn, and I kind of want to play these 5 and 6 drops, and I don't have any lands in my hand, so I just kind of played my Karn as gain some life, wish for Darksteel. But it's not like I can plus. They have 7 power,
right.
So it seemed pretty reasonable.
Yeah, looks like a great play to me. And Karn is down. We've taken some damage. There's the scary Mayhem Devil. So things... I've heard you never want to let Red Black Sack untap with Mayhem Devil, which we're doing. So...
Yeah, so you're about to see why this is the case. Basically, this is a lot of damage. You can watch my left shoulder. I'm at 11. Okay, now I'm at 10. Now the card back comes back. I'm at 9. All right, so I'm at 9. They can fire up this Hive of the Eye Tyrant, and that's more than lethal.
Yikes.
The reason you don't want to untap Mayhem Devil is usually when they untap with it, things switch from the mode of kill your guys to kill your fist.
Yeah, and I predict they had a lot more. Even without that creature land there, they could have used Cat Oven triggers. They could have sacrificed their blood. They had a lot of ways to get that extra couple points of damage in.
Correct. I think I was dead sans the Hive, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I pretty much just died to the Mayhem Devil here. My draw got slowed down, and they killed me with the Mayhem Devil, and that is usually how your losses go to this deck. If basically they slow you down, and then they Mayhem Devil, and you don't answer it, you die.
Yeah.
And
I think that's true about green, but that's true about other decks, too. I know when I was playing Bant Humans, Mayhem Devil is... If they get to live with it, you don't win.
Well, I mean, Red Black Sack can kind of be described, in my opinion, as, Mayhem Devil, Cat Oven, and a bunch of bad cards. Well, some of them are, interaction, but,
sure.
Those are their only good proactive cards, basically. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, the deck is kind of all about them, but... Yeah, I mean, they're really good cards, so that's kind of it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
okay, so now we're 5-1, so we should go to round 7, if that's an interesting one.
I might... Yeah, we can go to round 7. I don't know if I should skip more.
Let's see, what time is it? It's, yeah, how many rounds are there?
9.
I think you can... If round 7's not interesting, I think we can skip it.
Yeah, let's go to round 8. I'm pretty sure round 7 is uninteresting. I might be misremembering which round it is, but I think it's uninteresting.
Okay.
So... Let's go to round 8. All right. So.
All right. So we've got a great hand here.
Yeah, I do keep a lot of great hands in this tournament.
That's one good way to win a tournament, and it appears we're playing the mirror. There are some other elf decks in the format. We have another, not the Dream turn 3, but another accelerant. They attack with the elf, interesting, with nothing else. So. Weird. They do not have that exciting of a hand.
I mean, it might still have been a keep. Obviously, they didn't know it was the mirror.
Sure.
But, or at least they probably didn't know that. If they knew it was the mirror, they should have mulliganed. But, yeah. So,
and here we found a Nykthos, so we're going to storm, getting Cav and Kiora. Kiora is going to untap that Nykthos and let us storm again. So it looks like a slight misplay there.
Wait, sorry, what?
Never mind. I thought you got another Nykthos into play while you hadn't activated a Nykthos.
No, I had activated it.
You had activated it. Okay. Totally.
Sorry.
Not a misplay at all. Never mind then. Sorry about that.
Or at least I think I activated it. I'm pretty sure I activated it to cast the first storm.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
So, yeah, I think it's all fine.
Yep.
So...
Alright, so there we find another Kiora, which again will let us keep going, untapping... a Nykthos. We found another Nykthos, so things are...
There's also 3 storms in the yard right now,
okay.
So we're never stopping.
Yeah, so it does seem like our opponent is going to lose. And now we've reached that condition you mentioned, at least 10 mana to be able to play Chain Veil, activate Chain Veil, and activate Nykthos, so now we can just continually activate Chain Veil to activate our Planeswalkers a couple times, go get Restorative Burst, go get the Reckoner Bank Buster, to go get some extra, to go get that treasure, which will let us cast the Petulant Cauldron, which will be activated multiple times thanks to Kiora, and mill our opponent out. So this was a pretty quick win. This was turn 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, this game I don't think is that interesting. I mean, mostly my only comment on is like, look, like if you know it's the mirror, and to be clear, my opponent may not have punted here. They may definitely. I suspect they didn't know that.
Yeah.
But like you cannot keep a hand that's elf into nothing. That is unacceptable. Like the mirror is all about nut drawing. If your hand is medium, you have to mulligan. So anyway, yeah, pretty straightforward win there.
Neat. All right, so there's our combo again. We've milled out our opponent. And let's see what happens here in game 2. Again, no changes in the sideboard. Right? You keep in the one boat?
Yeah. I don't sideboard in the mirror at all.
Okay. Neat. All right, so early elves from both players. Still not that exciting of a turn 2 from our opponent. Elf into
Yeah, they
elf.
just play one more elf. We play 2 Whiffalows. Our turn is better, but both are fine.
Okay, so elf into elf is a good enough keep.
Yeah, because that lets you play turn 3 cab, and then you're off to the races usually.
Okay, and there's a turn 3 cav finding Overgrown Tomb again. Okay. And we found Wolf Willow and a boat to kill an elf off our storm. Let's see what our opponent has. There's a Karn, okay, and they're wishing for Tormod's Crypt.
Right, they're just trying to exile my storm.
Okay.
So wait, let me pause a second. So, I don't have enough mana to use it. Neither player has Nykthos here, right?
Right.
But what I do is I cast Karn, and my opponent chooses not to use their Crypt.
Okay.
And the reason I think they're doing this as well, I don't have mana Flashback Storm, and they're kind of assuming that, like, at some point they'll get the Karn off the board, and maybe they'll get, like, additional Storms or, like, Karns and Cure that could impact my combo thresholds, right?
Okay.
They're trying to get additional value off the Crypt. It's kind of greedy, but I don't think it's, like, insane.
Okay.
It's kind of unclear to me if it's right or wrong. Because I could just plus Karn on Crypt and kill it here, right?
Yeah.
But my opponent is correct in that, like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I probably either want to wish or animate my boat. It seems pretty insane for me to just plus on the Crypt to, like, be able to flashback a storm I can't even afford, right? So...
Yeah, is Crypt a card in your sideboard as well?
Yes.
Okay.
It mostly comes up against Greasefang, but occasionally, like, Phoenix.
Okay. Alright, so here we've animated our boat to attack into a Karn, a cav again. Let's see if this opponent knows to eat the boat. They do.
Yes,
right, so...
this deep in the tournament, my opponent is playing reasonably well. And
interestingly,
so my opponent...
offering... Oh, yeah, so they want to hit...
They attacked everyone at Karn, right?
Okay.
And I reasoned, well, okay, I'm going to chump up the cap because I want to keep Karn around, and I also reasoned, well, I don't have Nykthos, so Devotion isn't really doing anything for me, and they seem really constrained on mana.
That's
so
true.
I just traded Elves and chumped here.
Okay.
Trading Elves is debatable, but I think, like, look, they're on 5 mana. I'm on, like, 6. Like, it seems like it favors me.
Yeah.
It's kind of debatable, but I also just, like, don't particularly want to find, for example, Meteor Golem here, which is the main 7.
Yeah.
So, like, it seems like a reasonable play, but that's what I did.
Hey, Zach, welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. We're watching back Andrew's tournament win with Mono Green. It's a little janky of a setup we have this time, but stick with us. We're learning a lot about Mono Green. Now, so you just said you didn't think you wanted to wish for Meteor Golem, but there it is in your hand. So...
Well, okay, so things changed. So basically, I'm trying to protect Karn now, and what I realized is, because they played this old growth troll, well, okay, so I don't want to kill Cav, because when you kill Cav in the mirror, they get back something good. In this case, a Karn the Great Creator is in their graveyard, right? So I really don't want to give them a Karn. So I definitely don't want to kill Cav. But if I play Meteor Golem and kill Old Growth Troll, I can chump block the Cav and keep my Karn alive, which is pretty appealing. And killing Old Growth Troll doesn't bother me. I don't care if they, like, sack to make a 4/4 or have one more mana. None of that seems too important. So, like, before I had no interest in it until they played this troll, basically.
Yeah.
Is the idea.
Quick pause here. I noticed you've drawn a second Boseiju, which I believe is not stock, right?
Yeah, not everyone does it. For a while, everyone was on 1. Some people are moving towards 2. I think 2 is correct.
Okay.
I think 2 is correct mostly because it's very good in the mirror, and the mirror is popular, and because it's very good against Leyline binding decks, such as Enigmatic Incarnation, that are kind of, I wouldn't say like tier 1 right now, but definitely picking up, is what I would say.
All right.
Anyway, so I do wish for Meteor Golem, and I am going to kill the Old Growth Troll, as discussed, and try to keep this card alive a little bit longer. Obviously, I do have a second card in my hand, but if I could get another wish out of this or something, that would be awesome.
And is that, they just played that Nykthos, right? So that's very scary.
They unfortunately drew Nykthos and then flashback their storm, which is very good. And
Right.
so at this point, I decide, well, okay, with that second Nykthos and stuff, my Karn isn't going to live. But then I did draw my own Nykthos, but I kind of have no devotion.
Okay,
So,
awkward.
well, yeah, like I kind of only have 4 mana to spend.
Yep.
So I was kind of like, well, I would like to get another Karn Wish, my constant desire for second Karn Wishes,
Hey, Juicy
and I would also.
Retainer, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, you're fine. So I was like, well, I want to protect Karn, and also it kind of seems like opponent's out of gas. The graveyard is maybe not visible in the stream. I'm not. It's kind of small, but basically my opponent does not have a Storm in the yard, and they have only one card in hand, and they haven't been doing all that much. And like literally, they have this Nykthos untapped at the end of their turn, and they didn't use it.
Yeah.
So like, I'm pretty sure their card is bad, and they're just out of gas.
Yep.
So if they're out of gas, then I can just play this Asika's Chariot, just chump block some calves or whatever, and then next turn I'll untap with Karn, and like I'm pretty close to going off. I have a fair amount of mana. I might even be able to do something like Restorative Burst to recur a backup Karn plus something,
Okay.
maybe like Meteor Golem. So it seems pretty appealing just to play the Asika's Chariot, make some chumpers.
All right.
Also, I'm not sure what the alternative is for 4 or less mana, honestly. Like, there aren't a lot of good options.
You get like Wand and exile a Cav or something.
Yeah, but I don't want to give them a Karn back.
Wait, doesn't Wand exile, or does it destroy?
No, it doesn't. It
Oh, never
destroys.
mind. Okay. Alright,
Right.
so here we've channeled... We've played an elf, we've channeled on something?
Sorry. Wait, no, I legend ruled my Boseiju to have exactly 10 mana to flashback my Storm.
Got it, okay. Alright, so
And-
there's...
And I didn't hit a great Storm. I hit Old Ritual Cure, which is fine, not exceptional.
Yep.
Because, I mean, that is kind of the end of my doing stuff, except that I have this 4 mana land. Okay, so I'm finding Heart of Kirin here. I only have 4 mana, so again, there aren't a lot of options, but with this Heart of Kirin now, my, like, next Karn Wish will be lethal. Now my Karn's at 1, so
Okay.
I'm a bit far from that. But 1 Karn, 1 QR, 1 Heart of Kirin with this much devotion is enough.
Okay.
So I am all set, but again, I have to do some blocking. My card needs a few turns to get to this wish. I'm not quite there.
Yeah, can we... it is hard to see on Moto. I think our opponent has 1 card in hand. Is that right, Andrew?
Yes, sorry. They just drew to 2 cards.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the 1 card is bad.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know if I can make that bigger. The problem is my screen is large.
Yeah. If we do this again, we'll definitely have a better setup. We had a lot of technical issues at the start of the stream getting this all set up. And fortunately, we're able to get here where it's pretty good. It's definitely not the best stream setup we've ever had, but that's how it goes sometimes.
And I apologize. So, anyway, here my opponent attacks Karn with all 3 of these, with these 3 creatures, basically.
Okay.
Wait, I think it's just those 3, right? Yeah, okay. So, I'm definitely going to cruise Heart of Kirin, and then the question is kind of how should I block? And I would really like to trick this Karn. Again, if I get another wish, I win, and getting another wish doesn't seem unrealistic.
Yeah.
So, these things both have trample. So basically, if I want the Karn to live, I have to go block, chump, right?
Yeah.
It's kind
Any
of the
thought
option.
about blocking with Isika's Chariot?
Well, I could do that. I think I was thinking the devotion might matter because my count is pretty low.
Okay.
But maybe that's better than playing with Heart of Kirin, honestly.
Oh, I
think
meant...
it's pretty close.
What? I meant block with Heart and Isika's, the crewing it with the Troll or something, but...
Well, Troll Dying doesn't cost me any devotion, like,
right. Okay,
and it
that's
makes
true.
a mana. Like, usually Troll Dying is pretty acceptable.
Okay.
But I think maybe Heart of Kirin here is actually more valuable than Asika's Chariot, so possibly I should have blocked with that, actually. I think that this is a misplay. I think you're right. But anyway, I don't do that. I keep the Asika's Chariot around. Again, I was pretty sure what I was thinking was I might need the devotion, but I think that's wrong.
Yep. Alright, so we make a ton of mana and Oath, so we're hoping to find something, which we don't. We just find another Nykthos.
Right, okay, so, sorry, right here I actually make another mistake.
Hmm.
So, here's the situation. I'm going to plus Karn on something, right? And I decided to plus it on the Asika's Chariot. But I'm not sure that's correct, because, okay, basically here, I'm going to sack some Wolf Willow Havens to keep my, like, Planeswalkers alive, right?
Yeah.
And then what I would like to do is untap, Wish for Pestilent Cauldron, and go nuts, basically. And Karn will kill itself with the Pestilent Cauldron Wish, which is, like, actually kind of nice here.
Yeah.
Because that way I can get it back. But the problem is there's still this Tormod script in play that's been in play for a million turns doing nothing. And that means that if I kill my own Karn to find Petulant Cauldron, then they can just respond with the Tormod's Crypt.
Right, but if you plus on Tormod's Crypt, that kills it, right?
Yes, because it's 0 mana artifact.
Right.
So I think what I should have done here is plus on the Crypt, and I think I can still keep my guys alive between Wolfwillow Haven and Lair of the Hydra. I think I can make 4 blockers, which is how many I need. So I think this is incorrect. I was very worried about taking my walkers, but I think I was too worried.
Okay.
So anyway, I animate a Seeker's Chariot, and I sack 2 Wolfwillow Havens, and I'm just basically desperately trying to protect these walkers, and then I untap the Nykthos to make my lair big on their turn.
Okay.
That's the point of that untap.
They don't make a troll.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure my opponent did do that. I think it's because they wanted to make sure that they had lots of mana if they drew a storm or something, but it might have been wrong. In fact, I expect it was. So now I plus the Torment Script, finally. Okay. Because I still can't wish for Cauldron otherwise, and I don't really... I mean, Cauldron's what I want, because then I can kill them. And I make yet another wolf, because I'm just trying to keep my guys alive.
So now Devotion's getting quite low.
Yeah, it's not too bad because of this Old Growth Troll, right? We still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's still lethal with Chain Veil. The minimum is 8. So it still should be okay. Also, you can sometimes do it on 7 if you have enough startup mana. So basically, it's not enough to be a problem, but it's definitely getting concerning.
Yeah, and Zach just put a card, Karn the Great Creator, in the chat. So yeah, you can check out Karn. It can kill 0 mana artifacts. It shuts down artifacts of our opponents. That's why they couldn't activate their Tormod's Crypt to exile. And then it goes to take an artifact from your sideboard as its main ability, which is mainly what this deck uses it for. You can see it's a little hard to tell what the cards are, but looking at Andrew's sideboard, you can see he has all sorts of niche artifacts for all sorts of different effects.
Right. So, okay, what happened in the game just now, by the way, is so my opponent drew Karn, which punishes me for this 1-turn delay that happened because I animated a Seeker's Chariot instead of killing their Tormod's Crypt.
Right.
And my opponent now just wishes for Skyboat and kills my Karn.
Rough.
Which is pretty bad, because now I'm pretty far from comboing, and kind of all my work is for naught. I'm not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I have to take out their Karn, though. I mean, that's kind of the best I can do. So I fire up a big lair, and then I realize that I don't really have good attacks anyway, because I can't let them chump with Cav and combo me.
Yeah.
And I awkwardly just don't do it. So that wasn't great.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, not my best play. And then they wish for Restorative Burst. Restorative Burst back 2 things. It's just for value. This isn't like a combo, but then they cast God for a statue. And yeah, basically, I'm in huge trouble because it's the same situation. I can't really fire up this lair because if I attack and they get to chump block with this Cav, they get to recur something good. Like, for example, let's say I take out the Karn, but they chump block with Cav. Well, they're just going to recur another Karn to the top.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting anywhere. So things are not great. And I think I am going to lose this game literally because of that misplay where I didn't plus on that Karn that 1 turn. Because I was so worried protecting it, I did not count and realize I had exactly enough to protect it without animating the Chariot.
Yeah.
And you can see me again, so I think about this attack and then not make it, which again is not great for me. I think I was pretty tilted because I knew that I had fucked up the Seeker's Chariot thing. Sorry, I forgot how badly I played this round, honestly. And yeah, I'm basically just dead at this point. Because my opponent has this God for a statue, I have no devotion, so I can't really go off because they meter golem the enchantment. They've Rage down my elf, they attacked down my other elf, and they kill the cure with the damage. The game is over. So yeah, I think I concede. Yeah.
All right. So...
and I'm conceding here to save clock time, by the way, of 6 minutes, and I'm pretty worried about it.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe I should skip this round. Honestly, I completely forgot how badly I played.
That's okay. It's
anyway.
Good to show our ups and our downs. And sorry, that was game 2? Oh right, they kept the really really bad hand in game 1, and so now we're off to the races in game 2.
So now game 3. Oh, come on, sorry.
Okay, so it looked like you mulliganed a 0 lander there.
Yes.
And then...
But to a pretty good hand.
To a pretty good hand, yeah. We'll probably be able to turn 3 Cav.
Yeah, I mean, any elf or accelerant or land does it here, so it's
Okay,
like,
and
it's
there's
very
Oath,
likely.
which probably you're hoping to find a land here. Yep.
Yes.
All right.
And then, yeah, it's pretty normal mirror stuff. They just Kiora, they elf, which is a great draw.
Yep.
But I get to play turn 3 Cav, which is the best play in the matchup, definitely.
Yep. And we get to find another Nykthos, I guess, is not very good.
Yeah, but it's not optional, so I put it into play because I have to.
Sure do. All right, and they have a Kiora, or they have an Oath and a Troll. Draw a card, and get to cast Cav, untapping their Nykthos. Very good from our opponent.
Yes.
Another Oath. All right, and we have a Storm the Festival, so that's nice. We're going to get Old Growth Troll and Sylvan Caryatid. Not the most exciting. Yeah, as Zach says, comeback time. So let's see. Our opponent has Karn and Kiora, which is never good. Finds the Chain Veil, and that might mean that they're about to win.
Well, so what's happening here is, yeah, they actually can't quite win here because they don't have 2 Karns and 2 Kioras.
Okay.
And they don't have quite enough mana to, like, wish for, like, Heart to sack them. Like, they have 1 of each, so they have to be able to sack them.
Okay, yeah.
Or activate Chain Veil enough times that both Planeswalkers can kill themselves. So they don't. And what they do is they just use the Passion Cauldron to get back this Beseiju and Beseiju my Nykthos.
Okay.
And I am in check. Like, I'm definitely dead next turn
Yep.
with this line. They'll easily have enough mana next turn. They actually aren't quite there because they only have 1 of each walker between the graveyard and play.
Okay.
Sorry if that's a bit hard to tell, but it is true. Yeah, basically it's a lot more mana to activate Chain Veil enough times to do this, and also there's a chance my opponent isn't playing Heart of Kiran, which would increase the mana even more.
Yeah.
Not everyone plays the Heart because you can get there anyway by untapping Chain Veil and reactivating it, essentially.
Right.
So anyway.
All right, so now is comeback time, and
yes.
So now we're gonna play. Yep.
Okay, so here's my plan. I play Karn, and I am dead to the combo 100%.
Yep.
And I think that even if I find Damping Sphere, it's still bad for me. I won't be comboed, but things will just go poorly. But on the other hand, I looked at the creatures we both had in play, and I was like, my board looks about as good as theirs. And I looked at the Cav in my hand, I was like, that's pretty good. And I have these storms I might be able to manually flashback at some point. They have no storms in their yard to my 2. So what I decided to do is just Pithing Needle Karn the Great Creator.
Okay.
So when you make this play in the mirror, what happens is no one can ever combo ever again, right? Both players are locked out unless someone at some point Beseiju's Pithing Needle.
Okay.
And my opponent already has a Beseiju in their yard, so they're looking for 1 Beseiju to be able to combo.
Which they might not even have. Not everyone plays 2.
Correct. And now, notably, if they find it, I will die because they will kill my needle and kill me that turn.
Yep.
And I can never remove my own needle. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, you can't Beseiju your own stuff. But I'm just gonna have to rely on, like, these storms and, like, this board and win the fair game. But I think that's decently likely. So, yeah, this is a play definitely to be aware of in the mirror. It doesn't come up that often. But, like, if you're definitely dead on their next turn, and here I am 1,000% dead on their turn.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need the hardest of hard combo stopping, which is the Pithing Needle, your own Karn Great Creator, and their Karn Great Creators.
Yes, Pithing Needle is symmetric. Someone comments that perhaps you could wand your own needle, but you can't go get wand.
Well, the issue is you can't go get wand because Karn's needled. Also, you can't animate needle because Karn's needled. Which you have to do in order to wand it. So, yeah, it's pretty much impossible.
Yep.
So anyway, so now I proceed to try to play this fair game.
Yep.
And they didn't really do much on their turn. The needle did stop them.
Yeah.
And I actually
did
find
they
that
lose 2 life?
Yes, the Chain Veil deals them 2
because
if they don't activate a walker.
Activate a Planeswalker ability. Oh, so
yes.
we found Nykthos. Okay, so that's great. So we get a Kiora and something else. Activate our Kiora, which will let us flash back another Storm the Festival. There's a Skyboat, it looks like, and an Oath of Nissa.
Skyboat and Elf, yes.
Oh yeah, okay, so Skyboat...
And I just kill their Karn so that I can then animate Skyboat in the future. Their Karn otherwise doesn't do anything.
Yep, they take 2 again to Chain Veil, which is funny to me.
Right. So now it's time to start attacking. So I animate Skyboat. I make this really large lair.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean they're gonna get to Cav if I attack, but the Cav can't recur Beseiju and Karn simultaneously.
Okay.
So it seems like that's pretty okay. Also, I take out the Kiora. So they're pretty far from comboing now.
Yep, and it looks like they've made some chump blocks.
They traded for Skyboat, chump blocked with Old Growth Troll. Yeah.
And at least an elf, right?
And an elf.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Because the lair is lethal.
Ah, right.
And so
okay.
I just make a 4/4, draw a card, and like the pressure's on. Like I'm gonna kill them. That's the plan.
Yeah, this Pithing Needle really turned things around. This is quite a play.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, so now once again, I mean, I'm just attacking them, so I make the Lair Hydra here large enough to be lethal to demand, or 13/13, almost lethal to demand a chump.
And Seiju takes down their lair, it looks like, to remove another blocker, and we are attacking with quite a lot of creatures.
Yes, and so I just I ignored the Kiora and put them to 2. The Kiora does not matter at this point.
Yeah, although at this point, if you kill the Kiora, they're going to take 2 from the Chain Veil.
Well, that is true. But yeah, so, and then, yeah, they just end up conceding. So basically what happened this game, and this game is the reason I wanted to show the match, is my opponent had me completely dead on their next turn, 1000%, but I had Karn, I was able to Pithing Needle the Karns, and I won as a direct result. And I just think, yeah, it's an important play to look for in the mirror. It's not right all that often, because, again, the fact that they can remove it and you can't means, like, if you can't kill them, eventually they will win.
Yeah.
But I knew my board was overwhelming, I trusted in the Storm and the Festivals that I had in the yard, and I was able to take it down.
All right, so, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's that match. All right. So let's go to round 9 is the last round of the Swiss. So at this point, I am X1. I am playing for top 8. Am I winning in? We can show this match off. So I'm also going to play against a pretty interesting deck, as it turns out.
Okay, so here we've got a hand. Great keep. We have Elf into Kiora. Can't complain about that. A turn 1 portable hole. What does that tell you? Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, so this is the white devotion deck that we're playing against. So this deck has like a lot of removal spells. Okay, and sorry, I should stop this. I just played Old Growth Troll over Kiora.
Yep.
And the reason I did this is, well, I can't play Kiora plus Old Growth Troll this turn.
Yep.
And if I play just Kiora, I'll only have 5 mana next turn.
Okay.
But if I play the Old Growth Troll and then I can so I can, for example, nick those to make 4, right? And then I can nick those to make, basically, my Nykthos is plus 2 mana, and my Kiora is plus 1, in essence. So this makes more mana. Also, I can, Nykthos for 4, play Kiora, untap Nykthos, reuse it.
Okay, yep.
So, it's a pretty big difference. They just play Night Orchid and Thraven Inspector. You can see they have a lot of white devotion, although no Nykthos.
Also, hello Merkderp, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. If you're just joining us, we are rewatching Andrew's tournament where he took down the RCQ online with Mono Green. This is his winning in for top 8, which I guess I just gave away that he's going to win, but we're playing a very interesting deck in Pioneer on the other side. So here we have a Storm the Festival to get a Cavalier and a Karn, and now we're going to be able to play another Kiora, untap our lands. We are off to the races. We're going to go get the Chain Veil, and we've reached that heuristic that Andrew described where we're able to play and activate the Chain Veil and untap a Nykthos. That is enough to combo our opponent, so we're going to start using Restorative Burst again and again and again. This is the combo going off, and eventually we're going to have activated Restorative Burst a couple times, gain some life, and once we have... And here we're sacrificing our Planeswalkers so we can Restorative Burst them back.
Yeah, I only have 1 Karn here, so I do have to make sure that I can kill the Karn each time. But
excellent.
It's fine.
Excellent. And so if you've activated Chain Veil enough, you can minus it, plus it, minus it, minus it. Or we can use Heart of Kirin, which we've just found that's another way to kill Karn, because you can just repeatedly crew it. And then eventually, once we have generated enough mana, we'll go find Reckoner Bankbuster, which we can activate 3 times, untapping it using Kiora. Also, I said once we've made enough mana. Maybe what I should say is once we've activated Chain Veil enough times is the relevant thing.
But anyway, this is a pretty straightforward combo from here. Yeah, this is just kind of a classic 1 Karn 2 Kiora combo where it's pretty easy as long as you can ensure that you can kill Karn. But yeah, mostly that game was kind of uninteresting, honestly. Although they did disrupt us a little bit with like turn 1 Portable Hole on our Elf and turn 5 ECD on our Cav.
Yeah.
But yes, in general, the clock that Mono White presents is pretty slow.
Yep.
So what they're going to try to do to beat us is to disrupt us heavily. Between Portable Hole, March of Otherworldly Light, Skyclave Apparition, ECD. They have a fair amount of removal, and it all exiles very relevantly.
So that stops the Troll from activating, and also that stops the
Cav.
The Cav, yeah. Yeah. And welcome, Appiolites TV. Yeah, the deck, you know, that combo is weird the first, like, 5 times you see it. And once you start to get used to it, it starts to make a lot more sense. I also, when I first saw the deck, I was like, what in God's name is going on? And eventually you get used to it. So it looks like our opponent... Oh, no, it's not. They got the Clue from the Thraben Inspector, March of Otherworldly Light. Doesn't look like a mono white deck for me. That's a Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Yeah, some of the Devotion lists splash blue for Teferi, some splash red for Chain to the Rocks and Fable. And actually, I think my opponent in this match is splashing both.
Yeah. So a couple comments. Yeah, Rick for the poor mono white player. So Restorative Burst. So actually, Andrew, can you pause for a second? So
oh, yes, sorry.
I just want to explain the card Restorative Burst real quick. It's on the back of Pestilent Cauldron, which is an artifact. So you can wish for the artifact, cast the other side, which is Restorative Burst, and then when you Restorative Burst brings back 2 things, gains everyone 4 life, and then exiles itself. And so then you can find it again with Karn in exile, because Karn can find things from exile. So it actually works perfectly with Karn, that you can kind of, as long as you can keep activating the Karn, you can get it back again and again, because the Restorative Burst exiles itself, and in exile, it's an artifact again. Andrew, what is the name of your opponent?
Yeah, so Aphelios, or Aphelitos, I actually don't really know how to pronounce his name, but he that is my opponent and also in the chat.
Okay,
here.
So welcome to the stream. Sorry, I didn't realize that. It's because it's too janky for me to be able to see.
Yeah, the name is kind of illegible. Again, we're sorry for the awkwardness of this stream, but here we are.
Yeah.
On the plus side, he is actually bouting me this game because I just missed the land drop and I have all 5 and 6 drops in hand. So yeah, I might just lose the 2 Portable Holes and a March this game, which, you know, definitely does happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is definitely their plan for the matchup. It's just like, kill all my stuff to the point where I can't really progress.
Yep, and there's a Field of Ruin over there, so even if you were to draw a Nykthos, it would not do much.
Yeah. And now actually they're going to play Karn, and they're going to find the card Weathered Runestone, which, boy, makes my 3 storms in hand look awkward. Because Weathered Runestone prevents permanents from entering play from graveyards or libraries, which means you just can't... Well, sorry, non-land permanents.
Yeah.
You cannot storm into anything other than lands.
Yeah, that's pretty awkward.
Yeah, whereas my card, I just wish for a Seeker's Chariot to try to stabilize, and then they are going to kill my cards, so things are bad. Now they found Godpharaoh statue, which means I'm basically unable to cast spells.
Yikes. Even with that Nykthos, it's not really doing that much.
Yeah, I like Animate the Lair to finish off the card, but it's, yeah, pretty much this Weather Runestone and this Godpharaoh statue means I am dead.
Charming Prince as a friendly Scrybear.
Yep, and they do pick up their Yorion here, but yeah, nothing much matters from this point.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not really allowed to participate in the game anymore once they have the Godpharaoh statue and the Weathered Runestone.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Reflector Mage.
Yeah, sorry, I slightly misspoke before. Some of the lists of this deck play Teferi. This list plays Reflector Mage, not Teferi.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is a good combo with Reflection, is the idea.
Really, we're just showing off some of Greg's favorite Magic cards over on the other side of the battlefield.
Well, also some of his least favorite, such as Charming Prince. Noted hated card of Greg.
Yeah. Definitely not least favorite, but least favorite card in the current Vant Humans deck. That's definitely true.
Yeah. So anyway, Game 3 is definitely the most interesting game of this match, so we'll take a look at it.
All right, excited to see this.
So...
Alright. Ooh, not... Oh, wait, no, that's an elf. Okay.
Yeah, so my hand is fine here. It's nothing exceptional.
Yeah. I didn't notice the elf. So
Yeah, and
oath
I
for
just
a
kind of oathing
land.
into lands, trying to hit my land drops, you know?
Marching an elf. So they're operating on their plan. They're definitely slowing us down. But it looks like, what did they just do for 3
They
mana?
just bought Yorion.
Oh, they bought Yorion. Okay, so
Yeah, so
not
I
the
think
most...
my opponent, by the way, did mulligan this game. I
Okay.
think they mulliganed twice. So
Okay.
they are a little low on cards. I'm a little low on mana. Nobody's really functioning at full capacity.
Okay. So here you Kiora trolled rather than Skyboat.
Well, I just didn't think Skyboating making a 4/4 actually mattered all that
Yeah,
much.
okay.
Like the troll protects my Kiora just fine, and this gives me more mana next turn is the
Right.
idea. And they played this card Sarah Paragon from Dominator United, which kind of makes me not want to kill their Skyclave or Thraben Inspector if I can help it, because they could just replay them.
Right.
You know? So then instead of playing Skyboat, I just decide to Storm.
Alright, and there's a Karn, which it seems like we found God Pharaoh's statue.
Well, I was trying to shut down this like Sarah Paragon stuff they were up to, and I figured statue is the best way to do that. It's kind of unclear because like whatever I wish for, I'm not gonna cast for a few turns. Is the weird part, right?
Right.
But they end up just Yorioning and giving me an illusion token, but you know, also getting themselves a bunch of value.
And why? Sorry, why don't they exile something else here? Is that a...
No, they did. Sorry. They exiled the. Wait, did they not exile something else? Wait, what am I missing? That can't be right. No, because the Sarah Paragon attacked my Karn down. Wait, oh, they must have. Hold on. No, I think they must have exiled the elf. This Elvish Mystic, right?
No, that was exiled with March of Otherworldly Light.
Wait, you're right. I'm confused as to what Skyclave Expedition exiled now, actually.
Okay, so...
sorry.
That's right, you can't go back, right? You could open the game log?
Oh, I could, yeah. Sorry, let me just take a quick look at that. Because you're right, I'm actually a little confused as to what just happened there. So...
We can't read this, so...
I know, It says they put the trigger ability on the stack, but I guess they exiled nothing? Wait,
is it...
Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like it. Are they looping Yorion so they didn't want to keep giving you tokens, or...?
I'm not sure, because they could always just not bounce the Skyclave with Yorion. I'm actually
true.
not sure what just happened.
Okay, so maybe that was a
I didn't catch it at the time, but yeah, I guess nothing was exiled?
Yeah.
That does seem like pretty clearly what happened, right? Because this card was exiled to it the first time, and this stuff was exiled to March, so... Yeah,
It says I selected something, I swear.
Huh. Alright, I'm not sure what occurred here. This is very strange. Let's move on, because I don't really know.
This is the
how to
board
dwell
state
on
we're
this.
in. Yeah, can you close the log again?
Yes. Sorry.
That's fine.
Like, I don't. Yeah, I just don't understand. Okay, so.
Alright, so we've got quite a grip of cards here, although our opponent's doing some scary stuff. So...
Right, well, I think at this point, like, I think what I decide ultimately is I just kind of want to, like, block their stuff, and maybe them recurring stuff isn't all that important at this stage.
Okay.
Just because, like, I don't know, I'm going to go so much bigger, and also I really just don't want to die to the flying beatdowns.
Right.
So I decided to play Skyboat after some thought here. That pause was me thinking about what to play of my many options.
Okay.
And I believe because I didn't want them looping Skyclave, I think I killed Thraben Inspector here. And I'm not sure why the replay is like pausing, but should proceed. Is it? Oh no, is it like frozen?
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh god. What the stream really needed was more technical issues.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because I thought this game was interesting.
Can you click the bottom right button? Sometimes replays break.
Yeah, it seems that I can no longer proceed.
Okay, well, do you want to maybe try closing out and we can don't think they ever worked as intended. Yeah. Well,
I honestly found replays to be pretty reliable, but it sure didn't work in this case.
All right, so now we've restarted the game.
Wait, I'm just gonna try to go really quickly and see if I can get back there.
Yeah.
Sorry. because that's my only thing I can do, really.
Yep, Karn got that boat. Thraven Inspector, Skyclave the Karn. Kiora Troll, draw a card.
Wait, and right here, I just want to play it because I can. Oh no, sorry, this is Sarah Paragon
one
turn.
More turn, yeah. Oh, did they take the Wolf Willow Haven? Okay.
Well, but then why was it in exile?
Oh yeah, okay.
Karn dies in combat.
Yep.
They play Yorion. This is my board. Troll, Wolf Willow, Oath, Kiora. I get the illusion.
Draw a card. Nice.
Yeah, definitely nothing was taken just there. So I'm pretty sure that Aphelitos misclicked, but Alright, so now it didn't put the Skyboat into play? What just happened?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think this replay is bugged. I'm sorry. Because I'm pretty sure I cast Skyboat last turn.
Oh, so probably Skyclave did Skyclave something. We're just
the
not.
replay's bugged?
The replay's bugged.
Okay, well.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, can you describe to us maybe how?
Yeah.
What made that
basically,
game so
what eventually happened is I played Skyboat, I killed Thraben Inspector, and then I just started kind of playing big guys, and then at some point I kind of stabilized the board. I played the everything costs 2 more, and then they kind of Aphelitos kind of didn't have any cards in hand, and they were struggling to cast anything through the statue, and I just kind of slowly won. I don't think I even comboed. I just kind of attacked.
So you just won a fair game with your big creatures.
That's what I believe happened. I could be misremembering. Athletes should correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what happens.
Yeah, there were apparently some interesting turns involving the Wandering Emperor and stuff. So dang. Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate, but
okay. Sorry. We can watch. Okay, so I hope we have time for the top 8. I guess I can skip the top 8 match if that's helpful.
I don't have anywhere to be, but
well, it's just getting a little late, but I'll play.
Yeah, wait,
sure.
Hold on. I do need to go and plug my computer in back. So I have to disappear for a second. Can you just talk?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool. In fact, I'm gonna. So if anyone shows up and they're not confused, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide. Do that. And that. Okay.
I'm happy to commentate with Greg's empty chair.
I will be back very momentarily. I just have to grab my computer charger.
Right. Okay. So I keep a pretty good hand here. Elf of Oath of Cav. Nothing insanely special, but definitely nothing to complain about either. Then I draw Kiora, which basically means my hand is the nut now. And I oath into Old Growth Troll. My opponent here, by the way, is playing a red-black deck, as you can see. They Dreadbore the Kiora, but that's fine. Just develop my board. They Fatal Push They actually kill both my elves here, which is pretty annoying, but whatever. Oath and Nick, this is awesome. Bash them for it. They're also not really doing anything. So, yeah, they develop the Bone Crusher. I don't know. This game is kind of just classic mono green stuff. I'm drawing cards. And I believe here I decided to attack with Old Growth Troll, I think. Yeah. And just offer the trade, since honestly I'm pretty happy to just sack a forest and make a 4/4 and draw another card if they block. Yeah, you never really need to ask me to talk. I do talk a lot. That is definitely true. Yeah, so here I actually just fire up the lair as a 12/12, which basically means that in this situation, because of the trample, my opponent just has to kill the lair and block. I do use the Cav, but on the other hand, I just get to put a good card on top. I believe I put Lair on the top here. So, Oath on top here, I mean. So, I think all of that exchange was still fine for me. Oath happens to find Karn, which obviously is very nice because now I have 2 Kioras, a Karn in hand, which is just lethal. So I wish for the Chainville here, and then my opponent just concedes. But I think I was going to win the fair beatdown game, pretty handily, even though they had to push for my lair that turn and were able to trade for my Cav. I do think they were going to get overwhelmed. But anyway, I combo into their 3 mana. They have nothing. Win pretty easily. This is a pretty safe spot to combo, just for the record, because Red-Black has almost no instant speed interaction for Planeswalkers or artifacts, especially in Game 1.
Yeah. I'm back, by the way. And to be clear, this is our top 8 match, right?
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
so we're... Right, okay. Cool.
Against red-black mid-range.
Yep.
So we win game 1 pretty easily. Usually against red-black mid-range, game 1 is easy, but it gets much harder. So,
and what are the cards that really make it harder?
Oh, Extinction Event is the big one. Sometimes Lifebane Zombie. Also, Kulgon's Command is pretty good, I found, just to like clean up card artifacts and make you discard on your draw step, so you kind of skip your draw.
Yep.
But Extinction Event and Lifebane Zombie are definitely like the biggest factors.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah. Oh, and I guess one other thing in this matchup, I boarded the second boat for a Sylvan Caryatid.
Okay. Even though Sylvan Caryatid can't be removed by them.
Well, it can be Leonid. That's the issue.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So yeah, I oath into Elf here and just play triple Elf, which is pretty great. And my opponent has Fable, which is pretty uninspiring here.
That is true.
So
Oath into Karn, and
yeah, and
hard cast a boat.
Yep, and I could have gone for a Teferi something there, but I really like denying the treasure. It just seems like they don't have enough to keep up, and they actually miss a land. But then they K-Command Elf Boat, which is a pretty strong play. As I mentioned, K-Command's quite good. So I decided to just Karn for another boat. Just kind of all on the boat
and
plan.
Here down goes our Karn and all of our creatures, so they are able to deny us a boat. And mana looking a little awkward here. We're gonna play Kiora.
Yeah, I oath that I didn't find a land, but I do have this Kiora, and they're luckily not able to kill it. Because that means I can play Cav, find a land, draw a card, which happens to be a land, and I'm off to the races.
Yep. I imagine they're discarding a bunch of cards here, searching for a land. There's removal.
Yeah, they exiled it actually just there with Epic Downfall.
So yeah, things are not looking great here for you.
Well, right. So what I'm able to do though is I'm able to play the Old Control and play my Teferi off the Oath.
Yep.
And then I just choose to gain 2 life. I could have chosen instead to play Boat here, but I was sort of thinking that like, well, first of all, I was very scared of my life total. And second of all, I was just thinking that like I need like the blocker and the 2 life to survive potentially.
Right.
Because like this den is very terrifying here.
Right.
Right. Because like they could fire up the den.
Yeah.
Then copy it with the reflection.
Oof,
and then attack me with 2 dens, like essentially like that's 13 damage if with the no block. So
right.
I think I needed I believe I calculated here that I needed Old Control plus 3 to not be dead.
Yeah.
So that is what I do.
Copying Den doesn't work. I've been informed.
Because it's not animated. Oh, that's true. Maybe I made a mistake then, actually, because I'm pretty sure I reasoned they would do that. And Chad's right.
Yeah, it enters tapped.
Well, it enters tapped, and also it's not animated.
What do you
so
mean
it doesn't work in any way.
Animated?
Yeah, it shouldn't. I believe
it
copies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't work in any way. So I think I might have made a mistake here, although
them making the right play. A Harvester is not that much better. Not that much worse for you. Also, if Teferi gains 2 life, doesn't Boat kill a 3/2 and that gains 3 life?
Well, but I also get to play Old Control this way.
Okay.
Yeah, because if after I play the Old Control, I only have 4 mana when I use the Nykthos, so like I have exactly enough to play Old Control Teferi, but not enough to play, for example, Old Control Boat. Is the issue. So if I'm playing Boat, it's just Boat, and I think this is better than that, because like even though they can just pick it off with the Harvester, at least that way they've used up the attacker that is the reflection in some sense.
Yeah, Boat appears to leave you dead, says chat.
Yeah. I believe it still leaves me dead. It sounds like, even though I miscalculated.
All right, and they are attacking down to Fairy here,
which I think is correct.
Yep.
So I draw Elf, I use my Nykthos, and I just cast Storm with 2 mana up, crucially, to continue going if I hit a way to untap, and I do.
Okay, so there's... and it looks like they're going to respond by Murderous Rider and Kiora.
Right, which is
in response to
quite
the
a good play.
Trigger. Okay.
Yes, because that way I don't get to untap my land.
Right.
So my opponent makes 2 Bloodtooth Harvesters, kills all my stuff, and attacks me for 2.
Making a treasure.
And I believe they didn't attack with this Bloodtooth Harvester because they were afraid of trading with Lair, but Lair actually can only be a 1/1 here, so they actually, I think, just miscounted.
I guess it can only be used as a sorcery, right? Okay, so
right.
Did we just flashback that Storm?
Yes, that's correct. So I flashback Storm. which I have an advantage because I have 2 Old Growth Trolls on lands, right? So I have still plenty of devotion.
Yep.
And I hit Cav Cure, which is obviously excellent. And this time, there's no play and response. There's no nothing,
So.
which means I'm gonna go nuts.
Okay, right. So we have another storm to flashback. So now we're getting Cav Karn. Now things are looking really good. We find a Nykthos, and that has to just be the writing on the wall, right? Now we can go find the Chain Veil.
So I find the Chain Veil, and the weird part about this is, so I use the Chain Veil right when I play it, of course. But my opponent in this game is actually going to abrade my Chain Veil, bizarrely.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure when they do this. At some point they do. I think when I go for this Teferi untap, they do. Yeah. So I go for Teferi, which is Teferi is infinite life with the Chain Veil. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. I have 2 Karns, 2 Kioras, and I've activated Chain Veil once. So this is still easily
Right.
lethal.
And you can also just go get back the Chain Veil if you need to, right?
No, it's in the graveyard, not exiled.
I mean, you could get it back with Restorative Burst.
Restorative Burst sadly cannot recur artifacts.
Ah, okay, never mind.
So I can't get Chain Veil back, which means I'm gonna have to manually gain enough life to completely mill them out. But
that's okay. You can do that.
I have 60 minutes. I have plenty of time on the clock, and like, this is the game. I mean, this is the deciding game, so that's not really too much problem. I also think I could probably have attacked them with Lair to be dead to kill them, to be clear.
Oh, sure, okay.
But
I mean, you are working against yourself by giving them 4 life each time.
Yeah, I know, but I'm making mana at a rate that like I think exceeds that.
Okay, yeah. How much mana do you have right now? We can't really see very well.
Oh, sorry, like 30.
Okay. And here we're just running the loop. It looks like.
Right, so I do just mill them out in the end. I think actually I milled them out, then I animated Lair as a 40-40 and killed them, but that was pretty unnecessary.
Sure.
So yeah, basically the story of this game is I was really far behind, but I was narrowly able to stabilize the line of Old Growth Troll Teferi, gain 2, let them kill Teferi, and then I played another Old Growth Troll. They also killed that one, but because they all went on lands, I had enough devotion to combo just in the nick of time, essentially.
Okay.
So yeah, that was our top 8 match. As you can see, postboard was quite a bit tougher, even though the only cyber card they played that was really effective was K Command.
Yeah.
But K Command is quite good.
Is Abrade a main deck card for them?
Sometimes.
Okay.
It varies. I think it's usually like a flex slot 1 of. Sometimes they also sideboard it, but I think more commonly they either have like 1 main deck or none anywhere.
Yep.
But that's kind of whatever. So anyway, now we come to the decider, as it were, because as people might be aware, this is a 2-slot invite event, and I needed the invite. So the top 4 matches for all the marbles, as it were.
There's some other prizes.
Yeah, but I want the invite.
Right. So yeah, top 4 match for the marbles.
Yep, and it's actually against Black Red Sack.
It's not the same Black Red Sack opponent, right?
Correct. That person was in top 8, but I didn't play them.
Okay. All right.
And
so
you can see that once again.
Yeah, they're off to the races. So we played our elf, and they were able to play a Witch's Oven and kill it with Claim the Firstborn. And they deadly disputed it. It looks like.
That's correct, because they tapped the elf for mana after they claimed it.
Right.
The same trick as before. Yeah.
Yep.
So I oath here, and I decided to pick Kiora because I just kind of really need the mana. Even though Karn is my best card in the matchup and was an option. But like if you look at my hand, I think it's pretty clearly right.
Yeah. They attacked down the Kiora.
And they just picked up Giganta, is what they just did with that 3
mana. Okay.
Which is not a sign of strength, as it were.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just going to slip in this elf for free and Cav. And the problem for my opponent is if you look at my board, it's pretty resilient to Mayhem Devil.
Yeah.
And I also besiegeed their Witch's Oven just to reduce the impact of any potential Mayhem Devils.
Right.
Yeah, so here they were able to steal the Old Growth Troll, but because I killed the oven, they couldn't even sack it.
Yeah, and then did they just concede to that flashback storm?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable. I'm at 19.
Do they have no cards in hand?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, it's kind of the usual story. If you manage to get Cav out, Cav in this matchup is unkillable, and if you're at a high life total, they kind of can't do anything because it's not really Mayhem Devil-able either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was able to save lives with Cav and win, take the game. Game 2, which we will take a look at really quickly here.
Predict things don't go well for you. We mulligan a 0-lander. Mulligan to 5. Not
and my 5's pretty bad.
Not a very good looking 5 there, yep.
I mean, I think it's clearly a keep. I mean, it has card my best card. I can hope to oath into an elf. But
and they're doing it with Witch's Oven Cat to start the game.
Yep. And as always, that usually means you're on a surprisingly fast clock. Like the one from the attack and the one from the oven, and the fact that an eventual Mayhem Devil will be devastating, it kind of adds up.
Yep.
Yeah, and my troll gets claimed again. Again, this is why I brought up troll in this matchup. It just always gets claimed, and it's often really bad for you.
Yeah. And they just buy Gigantha again?
Yeah, they just bought Gigantha again, which isn't a sign of strength. I decided to wish for a Seeker's Trait because I'm kind of at 10, and I kind of just need these Cauldron Familiars to stop attacking me.
Yep.
But the 5th land to fire up the den is like, I don't know. I'm just kind of dying, to be honest.
Yeah, things aren't looking great, and now they can activate the oven again.
And that's the Mayhem
there's
Devil,
the
which
Mayhem Devil, yeah.
Literally deals me 5 right now.
Yep.
Pretty easily, in fact.
Yeah.
I think they can deal me substantially more than 5. Cause yeah, so that game I kind of never went anywhere, such as life. And that takes us to game 3, which I was extremely stressed about because it is for the Atlanta Invite, basically the last possible opportunity for the Atlanta Invite, because this was one of the last tournaments ever, the 3rd to last tournament to award Atlanta Invite, just like
not counting the last chance qualifiers in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true. But assuming I didn't want to like grind those.
Yeah, and Andrew kept losing to his good friends in the finals and top 8s of RCQs, so he had yet to qualify.
Yeah, I lost in the finals of 4 RCQs this season. 5 if you count a fake one where I played Greg in top 8, and we agreed that whoever won the match would win. So,
and I followed through on that promise, to be clear.
Yeah, Greg did win the tournament, and we agreed that I would have won. So, you know,
yeah,
essentially 5 finals losses.
Yeah.
But anyway, here is the game for all the marbles.
All right, so a fine hand except no elf.
Yeah, but no elf against Sack isn't so bad because they can't kill Wolfwillow Haven.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have all these fatal pushes and claims that don't do anything against my hand.
Yep.
So I kind of think this hand is great, even though it's not great in a lot of other matchups, actually.
Yep. And they Noxious Grasp Kiora away, but they're off to a bit of a slow start.
That's correct. I'm not really under any pressure yet. I'm still at 17. They don't have Cat Oven. They sacked their cat to a deadly dispute. I mean,
all right, there's a
Fable is obviously pretty medium.
We get to Wolfwillow and play another Cav. Oh no, Kiora's free, right?
Yep, and so I can play Cav and draw a card. And now this is the same sort of game state, right? Like, I have 2 Cavs in play. How are they attacking? And wait, stop right here. I did not attack with my Cav just here.
Okay, tell us about that.
And I think this is actually really important. So the reason I didn't attack with my Cav is, okay, it's true that Cav is immune to Fatal Push and Claim. And so on the board, it kind of seems like you can attack with your Cav costlessly to put them 17. But I don't really care about their life total. Like, usually when I win this matchup, I would win if my opponent was at 100 life. Like, it's usually not like a tight race. Like, usually if Mayhem Devil's going to kill me, it will kill me by miles, kind of. And I was really worried that they were going to, like, if I attacked Noxious Grasp my Cav or something, and then, like, play a Mayhem Devil and have enough pings between these, like, treasure tokens and, like, whatever else in their hand to kill my Kiora. And I really, really didn't want that to happen because it's a guaranteed card. It's like 1,000,000 mana. I have all these Storm of the Festivals. I milled up these Cavs. I guess I don't know if people can see that, but there are 3 storms in my yard.
We cannot see that, but yeah, that's okay.
Okay, sorry. There are 3 storms. So I just felt like if I attacked with Kiora, I would win guaranteed. Like, nothing would matter, you know? And so I just decided, well, really, how different is 17 than 22? Maybe it's not different. And so I just tanked for a while, and I was like, yeah, they can untap. Like, the odds that this game involves a tight race with Mayhem Devil just don't seem very high right now. And the odds that protecting my Kiora matters seems really important. And I couldn't even really name the card that would punish me, but it just like felt right to do it this way.
Yep.
So that's what I did because like for example with the Noxious Grasp case, I would get to put a Storm on top, which is pretty good. But I just like I don't know. I kind of just had a feeling. My intuition was like, don't attack with this Cav, and the reason I'm bringing this up, of course, is because I'm about to get extremely rewarded for this play. So
this is the one time I know what happened. So what was that card, Andrew?
Yeah, so my opponent here cast Bloody Betrayal, which is an act of treason that works on any creature, not only small creatures like Claim. And I didn't even really know Red Black Sack played this card. It also makes a blood token. But my opponent Bloody Betrayals my Cav, which means that if I had attacked, they would kill Kiora here. And then my next turn is way less nuts. Maybe I still win, but like, wow, Kiora's a lot of mana in this situation. So, yeah, they Bloody Betrayal an attack. I just bounce off the Cav. I don't care about killing the Goblin. Again, pursuing Kiora is all that matters, and I don't want it to die to like a Mayhem Devil plus a sack post-combat or whatever. So, I just block and let Kiora take 2. And my opponent Lava Coils to finish my Cav, but you know, it just doesn't matter. I play Cav, I draw another Cav, play it.
Activate Nykthos with the trigger on their stack, of course, in case you draw another one.
Right, untap my Nykthos, play this.
Oh, and there's the Karn!
Right, which means, as we probably all know by now, they are just dead.
Yeah, and so even though you had all this, you didn't even need those storms in your graveyard.
That's correct, but also notably, if Kiora was in the yard here, I don't think I have enough mana to combo in this situation.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah. I basically win the game off that play. Now, maybe I would have won anyway. I'm obviously not in a bad spot, but I think a lot more things can go wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is how I qualify for the thing, and we can go the last round. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, let's go ahead and speed through the finals because even though we're now invited to Atlanta, very exciting. There is a finals to play with some Moto things on the line.
I think it's probably like several hundred tickets worth of Moto stuff for whatever it's worth.
Okay.
So it's not an insignificant amount of money, but yeah. And I'm playing against Yashimoru, who my understanding is a Japanese grinder.
Okay.
And they are also playing mono green.
Okay, and did you know that?
Yes.
Okay.
So they actually played Land Go, which to me says they didn't know I was playing green.
And then
wow. Land Go again, which
whoa.
So okay, I don't know what happened here. Maybe my opponent was tired, or maybe their hand was like Kiora, Karn, Nykthos, which I sometimes keep.
Yeah.
But man, it's sure not going to work out for them in the mirror. So.
Yeah.
Also, I do have a Storm in the yard here, just for the record.
Good to know. See, where Cavalier of Thorns is the card that puts the Storm in the yard.
Yep. Just try to keep chat aware of that because I understand the graveyard is like pretty small here.
Right.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to pause that. So, yeah, they're just kind of playing some elves. I don't have that much gas, so I'm just attacking Kiora, forcing the chump. Okay, so here I decide to play Karn and Wish for Skyboat, and then use my Beseiju to kill their Nykthos.
Yep.
And kind of my reasoning here is like, look, if I kill their Nykthos, probably they can't combo here. Like the odds that they like find another Nykthos and have a Karn or whatever, and like it's asking like a lot. They also don't have much devotion.
Right.
And this Skyboat means that if they play a Karn, I can always finish it off with the Skyboat if they minus. And if they plus, I bet I can attack it down. Like I have this lair, this Cav, I can even like kill the elf to remove a blocker.
Yep.
So that's why I decided to go with the Skyboat here. I don't think I needed like a nuclear option like the Damping Sphere or the Pithing Needle to win. So I just go with the like more kind of fair game line.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I Beseiju the Nykthos on their turn. They do have the Re-Nykthos. And they play Nissa Vital Force and attack down my Karn.
Whoa.
Nissa Vital Force is sometimes a one-up people play in the slots that I play Boat and Teferi. In fact, there's a pretty common list that has one Nissa Vital Force and one Nikobolas Dragon God in it. And so after this point, I assume that's the list they're playing, right?
Yep.
but it's not so bad. I can like boat down this elf, and I have some decent attacks. I might be able to like force this lane to chump, for example.
Yep. Okay.
So I do that. Mm-mm.
All
And I
right.
believe I'm trying to remember what attack I made. I think I attacked every. Oh right, I didn't. Wait. Right, I attacked Kior with this because I reasoned that if I attacked everyone at Nissa, they would certainly attack with both walkers
Yeah.
and not need to chump, because they can just. Or sorry, wait.
They would
Did I screw this
chump.
up?
Well, they would chump and then attack with both walker, untap with both walkers.
Yes, but I guess it's the same, really. They're chumping no matter what. Huh. Oh right. So I guess fundamentally. Wait, this might be a mistake. Maybe I was supposed to attack with the elves too. I guess if I do that, they just eat an elf, and it's not really much better.
Yeah, and Nissa takes 1 loyalty.
Yeah, okay. I think what I did made sense.
Okay.
Basically, I'm going to get to kill one of Forest or Cure with this line, and that's pretty much the best I can expect anyway.
Right.
And my elves are not irrelevant because I definitely don't have infinite mana at this point, and like I do have this Storm in my yard trying to get to 10 mana.
Yep.
Okay, past Andrew very smart, present Andrew foolish. I then post-combat play Kiora and just untap my Cav to protect the Kiora.
Ah, the secret mode of Kiora, giving your things vigilance.
Correct, yes.
Alright, so they've got a Wolf Haven and a Karn. And they plus the Karn. Why do they plus the Karn?
I think they're trying to prevent it dying to attacks, is
Okay.
what they're trying to achieve.
Ah, right, because now you can't crew the boat.
That's correct. So, it is pretty relevant. Now, I do just manually flashback Storm here.
Okay, and we get a Nykthos and an Old Growth Troll, drawing a card. And
Yes.
we're going to attack that Karn, force a chump with the Forest.
Yes, but as you can see, my opponent is very, very close to comboing here. This is, like, pretty scary.
And notably, for chat, Nissa can untap lands just like Kiora can.
Alright, so here they just wished for Petulant Cauldron, and they Petulant Cauldron back an elf and, sorry. I think it was an elf and a Karn. So, or sorry, elf and a Kiora. Yeah,
Okay,
elf and a Kiora. And then the point is they want to play the elf both as a blocker and to help them build devotion if, like, I don't kill it or something.
Right, yeah, I guess notably the thing that's probably limiting them on combo here is devotion. They have very little of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely devotion partially. I mean, partially not having the Kiora in play is, like, a pretty big limiter as well.
Well, doesn't Nissa kind of act like Kiora?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's... They still have some stuff to figure out with that, but yeah.
Okay.
So...
Alright, and so
I mean, I guess basically it does... No, I guess you're right. I guess basically it does. Devotion is probably the limitation.
Yeah.
So I play Wolflow here, and I, fire up my Lair of the Hydra, and then I just... Okay, so let me pause here to show the attack. So what I'm attacking here is just all 3 of my guys at Karn, which guarantees Karn's death, right? Yeah. And my opponent in that case is definitely not going to block. Now, Nissa Vital Force can just, like, minus to get back Karn.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty close to being dead, but I think they still don't have enough mana.
Yeah.
Like, even with a Nykthos and an untap, like, I think it's just not enough to be able to find Karn, find the Chain Veil, and use the Chain Veil. So then they oath into Bolas.
Okay.
Which also is not great for me.
Yeah.
And they use Bolas to get back the Karn with the acting as Nissa Vital Force.
They have a lot of Planeswalkers.
Right. And they Karned here for Petulant Cauldron. So Petulant Cauldron, their one card in hand is Petulant Cauldron.
Okay, yep.
So this is the game state. They have Petulant Cauldron. You can see, though, I get to attack these walkers, like, a lot.
Yes.
So I thought here for a minute. I decided to sack Wolfwood Havens. That's kind of irrelevant, but
yeah.
I just need to beat them down in the future. And okay, so let me just show the attacks here. So here are the attacks that I came to.
Okay.
If Old Growth Troll attacks Karn, they can't save it because it is trample.
Yep.
Right? So that's pretty straightforwardly right. If 2 elves attack Bolas, they can't save it because it is 1 loyalty.
Yep.
Right? So then the only question is the remaining elf, lair, and elf lair and this calf, right?
Yeah, and how big is the lair?
5/5.
Okay, that seems
So
wrong.
what I decided to do is send both 5/5s at the Nissa, which guarantees Nissa's death.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm guaranteeing Karn, Bolas, and Nissa all die. And my elf is just attacking Kiora because why not? I'm happy to trade elves as they want to, or happy to get a 1 damage on it.
Yeah,
right?
that makes a lot of sense.
So I've actually kind of cleaned up their board, although they do have this Passion Cauldron in hand.
Yeah.
All their walkers are dead though.
Yeah, and so they don't block anything.
Yep, which I think is right.
Okay, and there's that restorative burst.
So they restorative burst back just there an elf and a Nissa, which is interesting because they could have restorative burst like Nissa Karn or Nissa Bolas. And maybe they should have, I'm not sure. But I think they still think that devotion is a big limiting resource for them.
Yeah, I mean they only have 5 devotion right now. That is not very much.
Right. So that's why they settled on this. The problem is if they don't end the turn with a Karn in play, I can animate boats, which is really bad for them.
Yes.
So I suspect they were supposed to end with a Karn in play in some way, instead of doing what they did. But this is the line they choose to take. So they Nissa.
Yeah.
And they animate a 5/5 blocker and pass. Like they could have like recurred a Karn, but they don't have mana to cast it. Then I don't know. It just seems to me like that's what just happened is probably wrong from them. I think like they should have tried to stop both from animating.
Then
now,
an elf and a boat get in a big sky ship of the councils of Kaladesh.
You can see the wolf is probably on the pedals, the elf is at the steering wheel.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. And the elf is like, as an elf, can kind of command nature and control that wolf, I think.
Yeah, I think that does make sense. And so now, like, despite the fact that at one point in this game my opponent controlled 4 planeswalkers, I'm about to kind of clean it all up. Like, I have like a million attackers now. They're out. They have no cards at hand. They're out of Pestilent Cauldrons. They're out of this activations, and I actually do manage this. Now, again, I think they made a mistake here, but to my opponent's credit, it's like a very long event. A long day.
And if they're a Japanese grinder, who knows what time zone it is where they are?
Oh, absolutely. And what I end up doing is forcing a chump, killing by making my lair like lethally big, killing off the Kiora, killing an elf with the attack, and also getting in some damage. They're down to 17.
And now, their board is just decimated.
Yeah. Now they do draw Storm here, which is obviously
scary.
a great draw. Because now they have plenty of devotion, but I still just have this like dominating position.
Right.
So I can just make lair lethally big again, which I do.
Yeah, and they're at 17, so that's quite big.
I guess I made it 15, but essentially lethal.
Yeah.
Force the chump on that, kill the elf, kill the Kiora, and they're not really going anywhere. Even if they might get to flashback Storm here, which I think they do have enough mana for. Okay, so let me pause here because this is weird again.
Yeah.
So this to me looks lethal.
Right, so we've hit that exact metric that you've described, Karn, Kiora, and that's 8 mana in their pool, right?
Yes.
+2, so a Chain Veil seems lethal here to me.
Yeah, so this is another spot where I legitimately don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
Because my opponent doesn't do that or like they like restore to burst back all the walkers and say go? Which doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what happened here. I freely admit in this tournament I got very lucky in the sense that my opponents failed to combo me twice.
Yeah, wild.
But I feel that if my opponent wished for, like, okay, they were very lucky their Storm hit the perfect 2 cards, but given they hit exactly Karn Kiora, I think I was just dead to them wishing for Chain Veil. There's a card into Kiora in the yard. They had 8 devotion. Like, I think they meet the minimum requirements.
Is it possible they didn't have Chain Veil?
Possible. Unlikely. I mean, I assume this person's good enough they would just play Chain Veil. It's very good.
Yeah, in fact, we can check this, right? Because these deck lists are public.
Yeah. I did not look it up, so I'm not 100% sure, actually. But I think what's most likely is my opponent just missed it. But, yeah. So, anyway, because of this weirdness where they didn't combo me just now, they're just dead on board. Like, none of the planeswalkers matter. I just kill them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, anyone who says that I got lucky in this tournament, Any Ari Zaxas out there who said that I got lucky this tournament are correct. Like, my opponent failed to combo me literally twice, which is insane.
Yeah.
But because I definitely should have lost this game, despite all the work I did killing the planeswalkers. That last storm I think was good enough. But anyway, I do come away with the win somehow, and this brings us to the final game of the tournament, which
Hold on, okay, you can keep talking. I'm trying to find our opponent's deck list.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Yes.
you're fine. Keep going.
I can maybe find it real quick if that's helpful.
No, I'm just scrolling through Fire Shoes' Twitter.
Okay.
Looking for it.
So, okay. So let's just get to the last game of the tournament then. So, the last game of the tournament, okay, wait. So I decided to keep actually a pretty medium hand, and I was actually very uncertain about this hand. Because it is the mirror, and this hand is kind of medium, in the sense that it's no elf Wolf Willow, but I thought that, like, potentially because it has Nykthos, it might still be a keep. I'm honestly not sure. I think it's close, this hand. Oath, Wolf Willow, Nykthos, Forest, Cav. I think that's pretty close to being a mole in the mirror. But I do think Cav is the best possible payoff, and I do think having Nykthos is really important. Like Cav is, like, you know, a really good card to play on turn 3 or whatever in the mirror. So I decided to keep. Might be wrong. I was probably also quite tired at this point after a million rounds of Magic, but I decided to keep. And I do Oath into an Elf, which obviously does improve this hand. My opponent has quite an excellent draw, though, featuring double Elf Wolf Willow.
What I've learned is that Fire Shoes posts so much on Twitter that it's very hard to find old tweets. Oh, but here, I found it. Okay, our opponent does have the Chain Veil in their sideboard. So
yeah, so I'm pretty sure they just screwed up.
They have some cards we don't, like Unlicensed Hearse, and Ratchet Bomb, which I know you now play. But anyway, now I'm back to paying attention to the match.
All right, so to catch you up, I kept a borderline mirror hand.
Okay.
Good normal hand, borderline mirror hand, and our opponent had turn 3 Cav, which is obviously very good on the play.
Yep.
So, but I get to this state, which is pretty decent. I'm gonna have a turn 4 Cav, at least, and they don't have a lot of action. Our opponent just doesn't have a lot of fall off to their Cav here.
Yeah, which I know sometimes you keep a lot of hands that have a lot of acceleration and little action, kind of with the hope that you'll draw it.
Yeah, I think our opponent's hand is, like, clearly a keep, but it has not worked out great for them. They really wanted to hit some storms off this or just draw some more gas. So here, what I decided to do is, well, okay, they have no action. So, well, yes, they could, like, have the perfect storm or, like, otherwise combo next turn. It doesn't seem very likely. So I wasn't afraid of the combo. So what I did was I just wished for Petulant Cauldron. And what this means is, like, even if my Karn dies somehow or whatever, next turn I'm in great shape. I have Karn and Kiora both in the yard. I'm very likely to be able to combo next turn. And it just seems like nothing can go wrong. Even if they, like, Skyboat or Meteor Roll my Karn or whatever, I think I'll just be okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they end up not attacking because they don't have great attacks with nothing.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty much the tournament. This is the same combo.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm doing here the 2 Karns 1 Kiora combo, which means I do need to find a way to get my Kiora into the yard, but that's no problem. With the extra Karn, I can find the Heart of Kiran, and from there it's pretty much academic. So
yeah, neat. And so then your new Kiora can start untapping Chain Veil enough. Or here it looks like you never untap Chain Veil more than once. Oh, never mind. There we go. Now we're untapping Chain Veil.
Yeah. So anyway, that's actually the tournament. Yeah, I kept this medium hand in the mirror in the last round. They had a great draw, but not enough action.
Yeah.
And then I just comboed them. My medium draw turned out to be good enough. You know? So, yeah, that kind of is my mono green tournament.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I gotta give a exclamation point strategy in the chat to celebrate your win, even if sounds like there were a few lucky moments that got you there, but definitely well played all around.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely not claiming that. I've said this a lot, but no one has ever won a major tournament without being lucky. I ran pretty hot in this tournament. I had a lot of like one-landers that worked out. I drew a lot of convenient cards, a lot of convenient times. I completely stole 2 mirror games from my opponents had the combo and didn't combo me, which is bizarre. But yeah. On the plus side, like I do think you should never concede the combo online. It's really easy to screw it up. I also think that
What is this thing that's on the battlefield?
what thing? The pilot token
Ah, that's
is
a
made by.
pilot token. I see. Okay,
Yes, sorry.
I
Uh,
understand.
you actually normally win with a pilot token on the battlefield.
Yeah, because of the Reckoner Bankbuster getting that treasure. Do you ever wish for Reckoner Bankbuster to not like as a fair card?
Against blue-white control sometimes.
Okay, sure, that makes sense.
There is debate about what the best black source is, because obviously the best one is whichever one has the most utility.
Right.
Bankbuster's utility against blue-white Navigator's Compass has some utility as 1 mana gain 3 life.
Interesting. Okay.
So I think those are the 2 ones that most people like these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, Golos was the old school one. The idea being that sometimes you fairly wish for Golos just to find Nykthos.
Okay, sure.
But I think most people decide that is less utility than Compass or Bankbuster at this point. Anyway.
Neat. Awesome.
So yeah, that was my tournament.
Yeah. Any other kind of closing notes about the tournament or how it went or playing, Moto or I don't know, any final thoughts?
I mean, I would just say like, I don't know. I think so I'm just bringing up the green list here.
Oh, good idea.
So I do think that I do think I played a really good list. I do think it's definitely correct to have 2 different one-ofs in the main to avoid legendary issues, and I think given that you're going to play 2 different ones, 1 boat, 1 Teferi is probably the best, just because you see so many cards with storms, like legendary comes up a lot more than you would think.
Yeah, and mostly other than those 2 cards, the rest of the deck is stock, other than maybe that 1 Sylvan Caryatid.
Yeah, the 1 Sylvan Caryatid is not stock, and I still could imagine cutting it. I know some people have talked about cutting it for a land, but I kind of still think it's right, mostly just because I think the land is only better against a few matchups, and the Sylvan Caryatid often allows you to keep hands you'd otherwise mull, because like you mull almost every hand without a 1 or 2 drop accelerant.
Right.
So yeah, I still prefer the Caryatid. I think Tubaseiju was excellent for me in this tournament. You saw me blow up a bunch of things like Nykthoses and whatnot.
Witches' ovens and
various nonsense.
Reflections of Kiki Jiki.
Yeah, well, I actually think I didn't end up blowing up
but
it
was considered. So
yes. And I do think my 2 Skyboats looked excellent. I mean, beating Bant Spirits in no small part due to the 2 Skyboats in our main deck when we sideboard, while still leaving 3rd in the board, which is the one change from last time, partially as a direct reaction to the Bant Spirits matchup, to be honest. I really wanted to have 2 boots main and 1 in the board against that matchup. And yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of just the best deck in Pioneer. It does the most powerful things. It has the most explosive draws. It can win at any time, sometimes out of nowhere. You saw me, for example, in the red-black mid-range match, like, be very far behind and just, like, suddenly kill my opponent, and that's, like, an invaluable property of a deck that you're kind of never out of it when you play this deck. And, yeah, I guess that's all my thoughts. I don't know. I'm very glad to get the queued for Atlanta monkey off my back, as it were.
Yeah, and definitely we will be spending some time on the stream. Both Andrew and I are queued, so we'll definitely be spending some more time playing Pioneer as we try and figure out what decks we're going to play and get some more experience with them. So if you happen to be queued, or if you plan to go for an LCQ, or if you just want to play, the new season of RCQs have started. So if you have some Pioneer RCQs in your area, that is definitely something you can stay tuned to our constructed streams on Mondays and Wednesdays so that you can get some more deck techs and strategy and knowledge, and come ask us your questions and thoughts on the format. So yeah, I think with that, I think I'm going to close out the stream. I'm going to really quickly put up our stream schedule. So we're here at the start of the week on, well, it's hard to point. Anyway, we're here at Monday. That was our constructed stream. Tomorrow we'll be back. Andrew will be back here with me again, streaming some limited. I've missed having you here, buddy. It's lonely down here. So yeah. We'll both be back streaming some Dominator United drafts tomorrow. We've been talking a lot about that format, so I'm really excited to get back into drafting it. Some more constructed on Wednesday, some more limited on Thursday, and I don't think I've decided what we're doing on Friday, so stay tuned. We'll probably find something fun to do. Maybe just draft some more, who knows. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, if you're new here, found this through Andrew's tournament recap, thanks for sticking it out through the end. Consider giving us a follow or a subscription. We're SystemMagic. We, as you can see from our schedule, are streaming quite a lot of competitive Magic happening here, and we'd really love to have you along for the ride. So with that said, I'm Greg. This has been Andrew as a disembodied voice, and thank you so much for tuning in. Hope this was really helpful. If this is something you want to see more of in the future, please let us know. And we promise if we do it again, the setup will be a little better. But until then, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Everyone.